There it is. We're recording. Now throw.
We shall be basically synced up.
All right. Now, what were you saying about that list and how cool it was? The Epstein list of rapists and pedophiles. Adrian, you were saying it was a lot of cool people, right?
It's pretty based, right? Because even Stephen Hawking's on that list. Like you can't get more.
That's
based
true.
than
That's
that,
true.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
Hawking. He was a player.
Yep.
He was a ladies' man. Everyone knows this.
He was. Everyone
he
knows.
managed to cheat on his wife, like in his fully deformed state,
That is...
like multiple times with his like.
Right.
I think at least once it was with his like long-term caretaking nurse or whatever.
Right. People, you'll say like, men and women are different, and something like Stephen Hawking being able to cheat on his wife is like proof of that, and then people might point to like Ayn Rand and be like, she's a busted ass hoe, and she had dudes because of, her intellect or whatever. It's not guys also find intelligence attractive, and it's like, yeah, but she could walk. Stephen Hawking, motherfucker, can't even move. Like, I'm sorry, that is the difference. It's the same.
Can't even.
Yeah. Same thing, Stephen Hawking, but a woman, there is no way she is getting any play outside of her, spouse.
Well, depends on what that's true. Play.
I mean, that she wants.
I could imagine some gross people taking advantage.
That's true. That is the major difference. You did actually break that down. She would not be able to get any requited action.
Yeah.
She might be taken by force, which, I mean, that's a pretty low force. Which is not what you were saying
at all, so...
No.
Yeah.
But that's a really low barrier to entry to sexually assault Stephen Hawking. Probably doesn't take... That's playing on easy mode,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Not even easy mode, that's tutorial mode,
All right, you guys know Viper? Yeah. You know the rapper Viper? Famous for the album cover and song, Y'all Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack.
What's up with that? Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with that? Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with that? Y'all cowards.
I like it. I don't know it, but I like it.
He just released a new video here, a new song. It is entitled, "You'll Never Find Out I Had Someone Locked Up in My Garage for 5 years." And it's quick. It's not a full song. It's only about 40 seconds, but check this one out at your guys' leisure. I just sent it in the chat here. But,
Thank you.
Viper's up to his old tricks.
Yeah, Tim always has his finger on the pulse of pop culture.
This is true.
He's got that Riz that we talked about last time.
Oh, he does.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, I was talking about Viper.
You knowing stuff. You knowing things about Generation Z.
Oh, that's true.
That's what I'm going to call them from now on. I just decided. British it up.
Yeah, I like that.
To be annoying.
Gen Z. Actually, Gen Z sounds better than Gen Z.
It does sound kind of cool. It sounds more like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Like a Mad Max.
I've only seen the one movie. I've never seen the originals with Mel Gibson.
Me either, because I don't know. I hear they're good, but I've heard the first one is like sort of boring.
Are you stoked for Furiosa?
I did just catch the trailer for that, and it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't look as. It looks more CGI than the original. Like you can tell that they didn't go out and film as much, but it is what it is. Could still be good.
Oh, is it not out yet, or is it out? I don't even.
It's coming out later this year.
Because I saw someone post something and they were like, which one of these are you excited about? And it's all movies coming out next year, and that was the only one that I even would slightly care about. But it's not. I was gonna ask, Does it matter that I haven't seen any of the other movies? Can I watch that one? Because I'm actually almost
You should watch
interested in
Fury
seeing it.
Road. You should at least watch Mad Max Fury Road because
Okay.
it's
based on
honestly,
It's also a banger. Of
it's
a movie.
it's a bang.
I kind of thought about
totally
it.
is. Yeah,
I thought about
it's really
seeing
good.
that.
It's like a no holds barred, no nonsense action nonstop movie. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
That
There's
sounds
a
right up
story,
my
a
alley,
plot.
doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's. I think you can appreciate how well made it is. Like they took, I don't know how
Right.
many years to make that movie, and it shows. You know their hard work.
Yeah.
So I think you like it. I think you like it.
It's a fun picture.
Yeah.
Right.
I normally get like bored, like 1 second into a car chase, even in a movie that I like.
Right.
But this movie is basically one long car chase, and
Yeah.
it kicks ass.
Yeah, it really does.
Like I remember walking out of there, like feeling like, I don't know, high, basically, like
Yeah.
on cocaine.
I think it has high rewatch value too. Like some movies are good, but I don't want to watch them again. You know.
My girlfriend has rewatched that movie like, honestly, probably over 50 times.
There you go. It's got such high rewatch value. Like Uncut Gems is a good movie, but I'll never watch that again. That movie stressed me out too much.
I kind of want to
But
watch
it's
that again.
Oh,
I enjoyed a second watch of it, but it's
too much.
It's kind of diminishing returns because
Yeah,
it's not like the kind of movie that's like full of like, you know, tons and tons of detail. It's more just like
Right.
in your face kind of gritty realism or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I think
but
probably once you've been through it once, it's kind of hard to replicate that, like you were saying, for the
even when
edge.
you know where it's going, it's still good, but it just can't be. Yeah, it can never be the
What
same
about-
as the first viewing.
What about that movie? Oh God, no, I can't remember his fucking name. Not Robinson. The guy that was in like Twilight.
Good. You're talking about Good Time, the other Safdie brothers.
The other one.
Anxiety
Yeah,
movie.
is that any
Yeah.
good? Because I've heard people say that it's good, like compared to
I
Uncut
loved.
Gems.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it, but again, it's one of those movies that I don't think I would watch again.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
very anxiety driven type of.
What the fuck
Of
is that guy's
story.
name though? What is that actor's
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
name? Robert Pat. That was it. I was gonna say Robert.
Bobby Pats, as
Bobby
his
Pat.
friends like me call him.
Yeah. Okay.
No, he's turned out to be like one of the better
pretty sick, right?
actors of his generation.
Yeah, he's good.
And everyone was so merciless. Well, not everyone. Everyone who didn't like, I don't know, want to suck his dick
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because you know
was merciless to him at first.
who else? The other person who kind of got like a weird treatment like that. Not the same, like that people didn't respect him, but Adam Driver. Like people forgot that he's a really good actor because of being in Star Wars bullshit, and people just think he's a Star Wars guy. So that like now that he's done with that and he's doing like decent movies again, people are like, "Oh, he's so great!" Like I'm seeing people say that. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is like
He
very.
never stopped though either.
Yeah.
Like even during the Star Wars times, he was like putting out indie movies and shit.
Right, it's crazy. I'm just like, you people are like so fucking like myopic that you don't like this guy. Like, there's a very brief window of time where he did a couple Star Wars movies, and people are like, "Oh, he's just one of those kind of actor." It's like, no, like that's not even close to the case. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, no, he'll move past that pretty quick, I think.
I'm almost honestly to the point where like those kind of dorks, the dorks who are like the anti-hegemon dorks, are becoming worse than the hegemon dorks. Like the people who are like Marvel and Star Wars movies are bad, and that's like their personality, and make fun of the Star Wars fan for being like Star Wars is your personality. Those people are becoming way fucking worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least equally as annoying
Yeah.
and boring.
Very boring. At least the fucking Marvel fan like has like a positive, like a thing that they're into. Your thing is like just being a dumbass who shits on things.
Yeah, plus there's more nuance than I mean, there's some Star Wars movies that are bad, and there's some that are good, and there's some shows that are bad, and there's some shows that are good. Like, you can't just make a blanket statement and say, "Oh, it's all bad" or "It's all good." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've seen very little of the Star Wars stuff, but I did like that one where the planet explodes at the end. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was the best one.
Yeah.
That was the best one.
I heard that there's like a TV show about like that story or that universe, kind of like, is it called like Andor or something?
Andor was really good. If you want like Star
everyone
Wars
has said that
like
that's the property to watch if you aren't sold on Star Wars.
Well, is it like that movie?
Good writing.
The good one, the movie that I like.
I think it's sort of stylistically because it's the same character.
Yeah.
I can't think of the actor's name.
Diego Luna?
Yes. He's in the gritty war.
Yeah.
Real resistance fighting type Star Wars movie that I'm forgetting the name of.
The guerrilla resistance Star Wars.
Yeah. The one with Ghost Dog. That's how I think of it.
What's good about Andor is that it doesn't have to rely on a lot of like the usual Star Wars tropes to like be like it's good on its own without having to rely on lightsaber duels and TIE fighters and whatever. Like it's just its own thing that works. It's so well written.
Yeah, so. I think that's part of why I liked that movie because it didn't have any of that like fairy tale stuff. It didn't have any like.
Then you'll probably like Andor. Oh, yeah. I think you'd appreciate the writing on that.
Because like that's the weird thing to me with Star Wars is it's like a fantasy movie that's presented as science fiction, but it's really not. It's more like like wizards.
Andor definitely feels way less fantasy and more actual like hard sci-fi. Yeah, I would say. Not that I have a problem. Not that I'm like into hard sci-fi, but I just find it weird that it's presented and people think of it as a sci-fi thing, but it's actually like a fantasy thing. And I definitely don't like fantasy stuff. Right.
Just because it's spaceships.
Right. Because they don't
Did
ever.
we start, by the way? Is this it? Or
I mean, we're talking about movies, right?
We have been exclusively talking about movies for about 13 minutes.
All right. Well, let's break it off. You want to start this up, J Tree?
After these quick messages.
All right.
I got it.
After these messages, we'll be
right back.
It's called Healthy Spot. It's kind of like people kind of think of it as like Whole Foods for dogs, basically. Kind of the vibe.
Yeah. I imagine something like that would be big in LA.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but it is what it is. But she does
I call it whole dog paycheck.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to The Depth of the Universe, a podcast brought to you by Jared Starburst Industries, Benihana, and Pushing Elderly Japanese Men Around, LLC. It is 10:42 p.m. Friday evening, January 5th, year of our Lord 2024. At least that's the time here in Florida, where I am. If there are other people, I'm not just talking to myself today. We've got Mr. Tim, stellar nickname that's
Mr.
stuck.
Tim.
All these.
Mr. Tim was my father. Please call me Tim.
Mr. Tim is my father's name.
Yeah.
Please call me Tim.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. That was
So
that was a
son Tim.
a moderate stand-up joke from back in the day. He said because a lot of the Filipino healthcare workers will refer to me as Mr. Tim. I don't know why, but I mean, yeah. Mr. Tim is my father. Please.
That that does for some reason feel like someone learning English as a second language type thing to do. Mr. and then Mr. or
name.
Mrs. and first name. Yeah.
They don't because they don't understand like a sir. You know what I mean, or whatever. You know, or just they're basically trying to graft. Anyways, what am I doing? I'm trying to do like this cultural. Other cultures have more respect, you know what I mean? And they have honorifics that you add to people's names, right? So they're trying to kind of do that with American or with English honorifics, but we don't really have that. Because our biggest thing, the closest thing to an honorific that we have in America is that picture of the guy giving a high five to Tiger Woods that says big dog. That's honorifics in America. Big dog. That's it. So yeah. Anyways, I'm doing good. How you doing, Josh?
Good. Honorifics wise, in Korean, you basically just never say people's names. You're always referring to them as a title.
Yeah.
And I still get confused about the fact that the word teacher in Korean, it applies to me in my job, but people use it just as a sort of filler honorific. Why are you calling stranger teacher? This is not your I'm your teacher.
Damn it.
No, I don't know. It's more just confusing to me because maybe I haven't asked, but anyway.
Oh, wait, hold on. Real quick. I think maybe this is a Korean
Yes.
thing. I promise this is a quick digression. Maybe it's a Korean thing. I can't remember, but there's some culture along those lines where it's either you never call your mother-in-law or your daughter-in-law by their name. Do you know this? What I'm talking about? Either of you guys familiar with this?
I mean, that's basically how it works for everybody in Korea.
Okay. No. This is a very specific thing. There's I can't remember what culture it is. Write in if you know what I'm talking about. There's some culture where it's it's either your mother-in-law, you're never supposed to say her first name, or it's the daughter-in-law, you never say her first name. It's this insane cultural thing.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I mean it applies to Korean, but it's not specifically about those people. It would be basically anybody. Even your friends, you refer to as older brother, older sister, or younger sibling, which covers both genders.
Do they have the concept of an unk, and specifically an unk that's on some different shit? Do they have that in Korea?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. That's good.
I mean, I can't translate on the fly, but basically, yeah.
All right.
That's
good.
that's when girls do what's called aegyo. They do this cutesy bullshit. They ramp their voice register up a few notches, and it's a lot of
Oh, sure.
Right.
giggling and mouth covering.
Yeah.
It's a good thing this is going to be the first video we release because of that pantomime you just did.
I got lost. What do we do? We haven't even introduced our guest.
That's true.
We're horrible. What do we think we are? One of these doughboys blank check podcasts that can get away with this shit?
Yeah.
No. Tim.
Yes, sir.
Please introduce our special guest,
We're
if you don't
joined
mind.
by Adrian, Mr. Boots Too Damn Big, ADLT himself, our senior film correspondent for the second generation No More Book Reading podcast.
Yeah.
Adrian DeLaTorre. How you doing tonight, Adrian?
Good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hell yes.
And as I said, you are on the movie beat, so people can expect a movie review episode if Adrian's here.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
Especially for this movie.
Yeah,
Oh
especially
my
because
gosh.
you're Mr. Too Damn didn't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would actually be a perfect movie to do on my show, the Never Seen It podcast. I don't think any of us would have seen this movie.
No one's seen this shit. But now you've seen it, so you could bring
No.
it to the never. And then also, I think that this motherfucker is getting a 0Z rating, because I don't imagine you could fall asleep during this movie.
I don't think so. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just
Okay.
wow.
Josh, you want to handle the business end of this?
So speaking of the movie that we're going to talk about, yeah, we watched a movie called Collision Course, starring Jay Leno.
Is it knee? You know when you say like previously named and it's NEE? Is that, would you say that as knee?
I don't know how to say that actually. It's French, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Nay,
Could be knee, could be nay.
Nay. But formerly FKA Kamikaze Detroit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a weird alternate title, huh?
And it's like,
There's a
they changed the name on account of they didn't want to get in trouble for being racist. And then you watch the movie and you're like, that is not what crossed their mind.
Oh my god, the amount of casual racism in this movie is off the fucking charts, bro. Even I was whoa.
Okay, hold on. Most of the racism is coming from people that are wearing like full suits, so I wouldn't call it casual racism. Business casual at best.
business casual.
That's a good point. Yeah. God, I have so many notes on that. I mean, I guess we can get into it, but they dropped the word Jap like it's going out of style. Like just the first half hour.
Oh,
I'm like,
just you wait, buddy, because someone definitely counted it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
One of my notes just says Jap, 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 Jap.
Yep.
So I forget why this came. Just like with our last movie episode, which Adrian was here for, I'm trying to remember why we landed on this movie.
I
think
Go ahead.
I do remember now.
Yes.
But well, yeah, it something to do with Tim was going off on a rant about cars.
Yeah, we're talking
I
about
believe
Jay Leno being a car guy.
The utility of cars, and I said it sounds like you're off on some jihad mission against Seinfeld and Leno. And we were talking about Seinfeld and Leno as car collectors, and it reminded me that this movie exists.
Yeah.
'Cause I've heard about it, never seen it until yesterday / today. I I think I can speak for you guys. You also did not see this movie.
No.
You and like the rest of the world did not see this movie.
It's pretty
when it came
obscure,
out.
I would say.
I
Compared
have
to...
a kind of crazy note related to that. So, but anyway.
What's that?
Oh, my wife had seen it before.
Oh,
She
That's
like
interesting.
remembered it from when she was young, seeing it probably when it came out or around the time that it came out.
What I haven't gotten like total clarity on, but it seems like just from the IMDb that this movie didn't actually even make it to theaters in the United States, but only abroad.
What?
Well, that would make
Because
sense
if-
that my
if
wife
you-
saw it because it was a movie that was only seen by broads.
Makes sense? Yeah.
And it has, okay. It was like started filming in 87. I can't be more specific than the year, but 87. It was released in quotation marks in 89. First place it was apparently released was West Germany.
That's a great market for movies like this.
Yeah.
the similar humor style, similar humor that you would find in West Germany at that time.
But yeah, but then it didn't appear in the U.S. until 1992.
Nice.
So 5 years after like filming, this made it to VHS.
I wonder if Leno was hosting.
It says specifically VHS release USA, but like no. So anyway, this is all to say this movie is, even for sort of, I don't know, well-known bad movies, it's relatively obscure.
Yeah.
I think it's more just like known of, but not actually tackled. And
Sure.
I'm basing that on just like knowing about a few podcasts or whatever that cover bad movies, and there's usually a lot of overlap,
Right.
Deep Blue Sea, previously mentioned.
I love Deep Blue Sea. I don't care who you are. That's a great movie. That's a great movie.
What is that one House of Maniacs or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
The Rob Zombie movie?
No, I'm talking about the one where there's like the debate about if the guy rips his dick off or whatever.
Oh, you're talking Flophouse.
Yeah.
Flophouse is
that's the
a good
podcast, but
too.
they're talking about a movie.
They're talking about a movie called fuck, I can't. It is Maniac.
Yeah, it's Maniac.
But now
Maniac
I'm totally
Manor, maybe. Anyway.
That's not it, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, you get what I'm talking about, though. Those movies that are.
Oh, I know exactly. There was an ongoing thing on their podcast about like, does this maniac character rip his own penis off in a scene?
Yeah,
and there's a lot of like forensic level, like I don't know, just like fans like writing in about it, and yeah, I think they ultimately fell on the fact of yes. He ripped off his own ding dong.
That's a bad name.
They used the word ding dong. All right, so this movie, we mentioned it had an alternate title. It had a few alternate titles. The Dutch title, I translated. Hang on a second, I gotta find it on my phone. The Dutch title was Karate Mig Her, Karate Mig Der.
Oh no! I do not like that.
Wow.
Now listen, I said Karate M.
Yes.
Mig.
And there was a soft R. I heard it. I heard the soft R.
Which translates to karate me here, karate me there.
Okay.
Which I really like.
I think that's really bad and I hate it. But yeah.
I mean, it's pretty funny.
It's definitely funny. I'll give you that.
I mean, basically almost nothing happens in this movie.
It's crazy that this movie is like it's only an hour and 30 minutes or whatever. It's pretty quick. But and it snaps by, but like there's absolutely nothing to it. There is just like it's like 5 scenes. It feels like for the amount of stuff that happens in it, it could be like a half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I basically watched it twice. Like
Sure.
I watched it without taking notes, and then I watched it with taking notes. And during the taking notes, I was just fast forwarding through parts because I knew exactly what was going to happen. Like it's just obviously it's predictable, but you really don't lose much. in terms of detail if you fast forward a bit.
Well, the plot is there. It's just a paper thin plot. Like, it hinges on a missing prototype, and there's these gangsters involved who want it, and a guy dies, and Mr. Miyagi comes to the U.S. to try and find it, and he gets involved with Leno's character, and then it's off to the races. But it's just, you guys say it's actually a very simple whatever. To me, the last 30 minutes actually felt kind of convoluted. Like, I stopped taking notes because I didn't know what the hell was going on anymore. And I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll figure it out through context. And, there's a chase sequence involved, and then it kind of just ends. Like, that's like the last half hour of the movie summed up.
I would say almost half of this movie's runtime is chase slash shootout sequences.
Set to terrible 80s music, by the way. Each chase sequence was some bad 80s pop song from the time. And I was like, what is this? What is playing right now?
I don't even
They almost sound more like those like soundtrack songs that that narrate what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that every song was actually like an original for the movie. I don't think that any of these songs were actual licensed music.
Oh, wow.
I think they paid some like weird musicians to basically just score it, and like they scored it with shit that sounded like bad synth pop music. Because Alicia was looking this up. She looked up like the people who made the songs, and it was like just some random like people who do that. They just make songs for movies.
That somehow makes it worse because these were custom tailored songs for them.
Right. But it was none of them.
At one point, the second part of the chase sequence of the song goes, and here we go again. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god.
The composer of this film is Ira Newborn.
Nice.
Who's also
whoa. Listen, I understand, what you're looking for sexually, but we're wondering your last name. What's the name of the composer?
Newburn.
Yeah.
Newburn.
He also scored The Naked Gun 2.5.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. 2.5 years old.
A third.
Okay.
Yeah.
But 2.5 years old. The Smell of Fear, 1991. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, 94. Blues Brothers, 1980.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a big fucking face full of the soundtrack right up top. So like the way this begins is like some really cheesy looking like special effects graphics, I guess you could call them. It kind of just looks like the reflection in like a shiny, I don't know, metal part of a car.
Oh yeah.
And you just hear this like revving engine of like a motorcycle, and then there's like a really bad crash sound effect, and the title comes up. Collision Course, of course.
Yeah. It's great. I love that.
And then it's bam, 80s 80s soundtrack, just saxophone to the hilt.
It almost felt like this could have been a Lethal Weapon type movie, but nowhere near as good.
I was thinking a lot about how like the success of Lethal Weapon made so many of these bad buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in the 80s, like Lethal Weapon was kind of the blueprint for that. I mean, it was hugely successful. People wanted to replicate it, but also I guess the thing about this movie that someone else has had to have thought of before is that it's like the prototype to Rush Hour.
Oh yeah, because it's like the interracial buddy cop dynamic.
And like I can't understand your Jap language type moments that come up a lot.
I want to know how they landed on Jay Leno. Like somebody at the studio or whatever was like, "We can get Mr. Miyagi, but you know who else we need? Jay Leno." Wait,
Okay,
the comedian.
You keep calling him Mr. Miyagi, which
He's Mr. Miyagi to me, okay?
I understand that. But it does, because over the years, decades, people have like just referred to him as Mr. Miyagi because of that famous role. A lot of people have overlooked that his real name is Pat Miyagi, which is an incredibly funny name because it sounds like
that's not his name.
Morita.
Pat Morita. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, Miyagi is the fake name. Pat Morita, which is an incredibly funny name because it sounds like you're telling someone to Pat Morita. Hey, why don't you come over here and pat Morita? Huh? Give it a nice little pat.
Yeah, little pat on the head.
Just give a little pat to Morita.
But that still doesn't explain how they landed on Jay Leno. Like, what were they thinking? Like with Jay Leno, I really want to know what the reason
there was. I
behind
think that it really does make sense because this does seem like it was. He could have pivoted to movies if he was talented even slightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can't act,
but he can't
at all.
act, and he also the crazy thing about Jay Leno is that he could not pivot from hosting a late night show, because he definitely can't act. But the funnier part of that is that he also was not good at hosting a late night show. So he couldn't pivot from the thing that he was also bad at.
Yeah, but at least the late night show was considered by many a success compared to this monstrosity of a movie, right?
Sure, it was, but it was terrible.
Least.
It was. He was very bad at it. He was like the worst of the worst when it came to like late night host. Like there's not. He's a fucking hack. Like just a complete and utter hacky, unfunny sack of shit. It's just not personable. The only thing that I ever liked from his shows ever was the headlines, and it was like. That's all legwork. Like the only thing that makes the headlines funny is you find the headlines, right?
And that was written by somebody else.
Someone else wrote it and did all the legwork and all of that. Like it's not. There's no.
I'd love it if Leno was like just like on his like crawling around on the floor, covered with newspapers with like a razor blade, just like cutting out.
Sure, I mean that's the career he deserved. On the floor, rolling around in filth. With the amount of talent that he has, that's what he deserved. But unfortunately, he ended up doing fucking late. Like it's crazy to be like this guy. You would think that he would just continue to fail up forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. He would have been able to transition to movies. It's like, well, how did you even get this far? It's not like you're good at the late night show. He's not good at stand-up. He's not good at anything.
I was gonna say I've never actually seen
he's bad.
A significant amount of stand-up of his, but I can't imagine it's that good.
It's not.
But like you hear the fucking Mark Marons and shit in the world, like who like try to do this kind of like I don't know, like retrofitting like history. Like, oh, actually, I always respected Leno. He's a real workhorse. He's a journeyman comedian. It's like, yeah, he's not smart and clever like us cool alt guys, but actually, I'm going to be contrarian about this and say Jay Leno is actually a comic genius.
He's a middle of the road comic. That's all he is.
Yeah, exactly. Middle of the road is the right way.
He found success in being like the middle of the road, he plays it safe, not offensive.
Here's the real thing. He's more funny looking than he is funny.
He really is funny.
That's why he was good for late night for old people to just leave the TV on late at night. It's like they would just kind of see him barely paying attention and be like, that guy looks funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's going to haunt my dreams.
Yeah. So it's like he must be good because he wouldn't be on TV if he wasn't good, and he looks funny, so that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But his acting skills are non.
So that's why they were probably like, okay, this guy, he's a bankable star. He's got a following. He's got a name. Then you find out like he really doesn't. He's again one of these like legacy acts that basically only made it because he was like put in the position. You know what I mean? Like he just happened to be on TV and there's nothing else. Like people are like, gotta watch something basically, So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have to, he was not the host of Late Night or The Tonight Show yet.
Not yet.
When he made
He was
movie.
a regular guest though.
He was. I mean, that's like kind of how I think he got on the show. Is he? Well, some of the little factoids here say that he actually talked mad shit about this movie on the Johnny Carson show before he took over. Like multiple times, he's publicly just said like he doesn't even try to couch it in anything like, oh, that's kind of a goofy movie. Like he seems genuinely like regretful about doing the movie,
Sure.
and not for any like virtue sort of signaling reasons. From what I can tell, he's just fucking flat out embarrassed.
Right.
He's just like
this is bad.
Yeah, that like I knew it was bad when I was making it, and like he said, the best part of shooting the movie was doing stand-up spots in Detroit where they filmed the movie, like in between.
That's
shooting.
the weird part about him too, is he's like a fucking straight edge guy. He's like not a partier, doesn't. So like when he's like, the best part was doing stand-up spots in Detroit, you're like, he really means that, and it's fucking crazy because his stand-up is bad too. So it's like, what are you really getting out of it? Like, what was so good about that? Because it's not like you mean like, oh, it was so much fun partying and this and that. And it's not like you did anything cool or interesting. You just went up and did your like lukewarm dog shit stand-up set in front of a different crowd in Detroit. And you're like, that's what was good. And that's where it does come down to what was good. What he really means by that and what was good was probably because he made good money off of it.
Yeah. He probably made more money doing that than whatever they paid him to do this movie. Because I read on IMDb that they ran out of budget for the last part of the movie. And I don't know how much of that is true, but apparently they ran out of money to make the movie, so they just.
From what I can tell, this production was a real shit show of just nobody caring, which is pretty evident when you watch the movie. Like the director got replaced at the last second.
Wow.
By like a guy who really didn't care, and I guess the guy before, I forget. I couldn't find the reason why he got canned, but so like Tom Noonan, the character actor, creepy guy, he plays like the killer in a Manhunter. For context, the Red Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's Scully in this movie, the lanky henchman.
Okay.
And the actor who I actually like quite a bit. He's just a really good character actor, but he got like really into this movie, and I guess had like took his own passes at the script and like changed a lot of it. I don't know exactly what he changed, but like apparently all of these sort of like improvements he made on the script got tossed out when the new director got brought in.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a possible world where this movie is not maybe one of the most unenjoyable, stupid fucking movies I've ever seen.
I mean, them replacing the director shows that they put some effort into getting it done. I'm surprised they even did that much, because they could have easily just like turned the camera on, say your lines, all right, go. Cut, you know what I mean?
But maybe it was a thing where that director, because it said that director was working with this actor on like script doctoring, basically.
Oh, interesting.
And so I think they were just like, no, don't try to do anything like, different with this. Just like stick to the buddy cop formula.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, they did that, but they did it in such a weird roundabout way, with a with a lead who can't act, and a complete dog shit script. So the two guys who got writing credits on this did very little, if almost nothing else, I think, in their careers. Frank Darius Name has only written this film and nothing else.
Wow.
He's done nothing. He has a producer credit on Collision Course and a writer credit.
You're kind of saying that like it's bad, but it's like, once you achieve perfection, what are you going to do next? Right?
Yeah, where do you go from Collision Course, truly?
How do you follow that up? Yeah.
All right.
And then the other writer is not much better, although he has written other scripts that made it to the screen. One looks like a Mickey Mouse short called Once Upon a Mouse. Okay. Something called The Jogger, another short film.
Yeah.
And then The First Power, 1990, right after. A dedicated LA police detective and a female psychic must stop a demonic serial killer who is given the powers of resurrection, teleportation, and possession.
Wow.
Satan movie. A good old Satan movie.
That's so interesting.
And then the director...
I was just looking at his IMDb.
Yeah, what's he up to?
I mean, he directed some episodes of Nash Bridges.
Oh yeah, this guy.
Dukes of Hazzard, Reunion. Okay. He directed Cujo, which is based on a Stephen King book.
And Cat's Eye, which is based on Stephen King's short stories.
Nice. Yeah, his track record is not.
Jewel of the Nile appears to be his most famous movie, and I kind of recognize the title. I've never actually seen it. It's a gay actor, Michael Douglas movie.
Wow.
Yes.
And Danny DeVito.
Oh, love that.
I never knew that they linked up. Need it or keep it. Michael Douglas and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, there's an odd pairing, huh?
So, another character in this movie is the city of Detroit itself.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
The Iron City. Right? Is that what they call it, the Iron City? Is that right?
The Motor City.
Motor City. What's the Iron City?
I don't know what the Iron City is.
That's a good nickname.
I don't know. Iron City Saints. I don't know. Maybe it's okay, where does Detroit, they're from Philadelphia? No. Detroit, the Steelers is what I meant to say.
No, that's Pittsburgh.
All right, I think the Iron City might be,
and that's steel, not iron.
I know, but they're stealing.
Tim only knows pop culture references before the 50s. Anything after that is lost.
I'm not finding everything. I mean, obviously this might be because of my Google, what it's giving me, but it's all like Iron City Brewery, Iron City Beer, Iron City. But anyways, okay. Motor City, yeah. That's why Detroit is a big part of it, and that's why Jay Leno is in there. And you're talking about opening the movie. Maybe like feels like at least a half hour ago you were talking about opening up the movie.
Yeah.
And when it comes to opening up the movie and Jay Leno in Cars, we open up the movie with a hot drag race between Jay Leno.
Just want to.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want to throw in that we truly open the movie with a endless seeming opening credits.
Sure.
That is just a lot of Detroit B-roll and aerial footage, and it's like. This movie is like sort of trying to say something.
Is it
about it? I'm saying kind of, sort of, and it's fails.
Groping towards something. Yeah,
it's definitely trying to make present some sort of thesis about Detroit or American manufacturing, or I mean, what it really is doing more than anything is just expressing this stupid paranoid anxiety that business fucks had in the 80s, which was Japan's gonna take us over, y'all.
Yeah.
Which is quaint because it's the Japan is our real concern. We need to be scared of Japan.
It's also funny because it's post WW2. All we did was try to turn Japan into what it is, which is just a money making machine,
right?
And then when they do a really good job at it, we get pissed. Hey.
But yeah, so the first actual scene of the movie that's not
But
credits
so Leno,
is Jay
drag
Leno
race, yes.
is getting up on the line to drag race against. I don't even know if these could have been cameos. I did not pay attention, but I don't think so. To a couple of brothers in a big muscle car with a huge blower. A guy is just smoking a fucking doink, a big old doink out the window, just hitting that shit and
eating pizza.
Yeah, eating pizza. The pizza box is on the dash. Which, looking at my car. And just thinking about how cucked we are, really, because I've got some, like, Toyota fucking bullshit car. I couldn't fit a whole large pizza box on my dash like that. But back when we used to have real American muscle cars like this, you could fit a whole large fucking Sicilian on the top of on your dash like that. It's like
the most important quality to an automobile.
Yeah, you could really you could be hitting just a big old fat doink. Out the window.
You want to know what I wrote for this scene?
Please.
Because Leno's trying to, like, hey, what station is that you guys are listening to? And he's trying to find it on the tuner. I wrote, Jay Leno, too white for cool music.
Yeah, yes. I mean, that's what they tell him.
Too white for FM radio.
Yeah. That's what they tell him, too. They say, you can't find this station. He says, and why exactly the heck not, my good man? And he's like, this is a black station. He's a goddamn. And he says, slap me some 5 on the down low, brother man.
Yeah, give me some of that pizza.
Yeah. And then he's like working to buy a pizza.
The smack talk about the pizza is so fucking badly written and bizarre and badly acted.
You watch? Yeah, go ahead. Go.
He goes through the whole radio thing and like basically it's like, oh look. Jay Leno's like street smart and he knows how to talk to the Soul Brothers. But then it's like clearly he also doesn't, but then it changed, like the tone shifts so fast in certain scenes of this movie that it's like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where it's like it's a combination of like Leno's acting being so bad, the script being so stilted. I mean, I guess that's all you need to make it as bad.
Right, that's what creates this cognitive
cycles
dissonance.
where it's like Leno is like trying so hard to act like laid back and cool, but he's just not that guy.
No, yeah.
It's just such a bad fit. I almost like the guy is richer than Jesus H. Christ himself, but I almost felt like bad for Jay Leno while watching the movie.
Right.
Almost. Emphasis on almost.
Well, it's like it's like watching like a shark attack documentary or something and being like, it turns out okay for this guy. It's hard to, because this time, I mean, I guess based on this, if you were watching at the time, you could be like, this guy is going to flame out because he's got no fucking skills and no talent, which might speak to, again, why he like held on so tightly to the late night thing with the whole Conan stuff. Because it is like when a guy is like that untalented but had such a good career, you do want to never let it go. You know what I mean? Because you're like, I gotta just hold on to whatever I can get because I suck ass. But the part with the pizza, okay, it didn't really cross my mind when I was watching it, but now I would be interested to go back and watch it. And you, Josh, you did watch it twice. So maybe you caught this. Was there anything in the pizza negotiation price and conversation that maybe would play into what he says here to the patrol officers when he talks about that he was undercover? Like, was part of why that conversation was so weird is that there was like, he was doing some kind of like drug dealing thing in there?
That's not, I almost feel like you're giving them too much credit, but that could be it.
Well, that's why I said, because you watched it twice. Did you notice it, like, on maybe a second watch?
I mean, I just thought the script is shitty. This is a bad movie.
Okay.
But you gave it a little more credit, I guess.
Right. It would make sense.
How it could make sense. I mean, even with that, like, the performance is so weird that, like, the scene is just
It's tough
uncanny.
to say. It's tough to say. But yes, then they're drag racing. Even the drag racing part doesn't make any sense.
No.
But again, this is a Jay Leno flick, so
Yeah,
even
he
at
like
this time,
he like tries to psych them out,
Right.
like while and then he confuses them with his white
moxie.
man words, and then just like slams on the gas pedal
Right.
and wins, but then gets pulled over immediately by another cop car.
And he waves them off. He says, "Go, go, go."
Yeah.
He's like telling them to go. And then he gets pulled over, and this is the first time that he does what would be, if this was today, would be considered, low-key rapey and sus. Where he tricks...
This is what I call lecherous Leno.
Yeah, where he asks for this girl's home phone number.
The female cops.
Yeah, within the thing.
Police woman, if you please.
Yeah, and he switches lady officer. Yeah, he starts reaming him out, which doesn't make any sense. In context, none of it makes any sense. Why would they be like scared of him and upset? They didn't do anything wrong. They wouldn't be in trouble for what they did. Like that whole part of it is crazy. And then then he uses it to his advantage and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna need your badge number, your name, your home phone number, and all this stuff." And then the male officer is like, "Do you want my whole phone number?" And he's like, "Why would I want that? Do I look gay? I'm not gay. I'm not a fucking queer." Like that's like the vibe that he gives. And then that part was insane. Yeah, that was, yes.
So bad. I mean, and again, it's a thing of like Leno cannot act, and his persona doesn't fit this kind of like, they're basically trying to do like Bad Lieutenant with Jay Leno, but not pushing it to Bad Lieutenant levels. So it's like kiddie Bad Lieutenant plus Japanese racism with Pat Morita.
No, you know what it is? It's
this movie.
It's a naughty sergeant. It's not Bad Lieutenant. It's naughty sergeant.
Naughty. He doesn't even live up to naughty sergeant. He's like, when and he does multiple times, like very awkwardly try to do this, the whole like, I'm a player. I find gross, sneaky cop ways to get girls' numbers. But then what I wrote in my notes was like, he's gonna get, I forget where it is, but something basically like, numbers all right, but pussy, question mark? He never actually does anything about it.
Okay, but this was the late 80s, early 90s.
Although it's implied at the very end that he has been fucking the female cop from the beginning.
Sure.
I missed that.
That was
really fast.
It's very subtle.
It's still not even.
Yeah.
It's not clear that that's even. It's so badly brought back.
But in the 80s, in the 80s, getting the home phone number was tantamount to getting the pussy. That was how it worked. But okay, so Josh, he's not Bad Lieutenant. You're gonna argue with Naughty Sergeant. How do you feel? How does this grab you? Petulant Private.
It's definitely.
We're getting closer.
We're
getting there.
It's all getting closer.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's just, I just want to emphasize how much Jay Leno comes off as like a kind of goody Boy Scout.
Yeah.
But one who's trying really hard to be basically Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, they try to make him even like hard drinking or whatever, and like he can't even like mime it in like a movie. He's like bad at pretend drinking. Like there's a whole scene we'll get to in a second, I guess, where he
maybe
gets drunk with,
at this rate.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Here's the vibe that he gives when he's doing the like pickup artist act on the lady cop here. He gives off asexual rapist. That's the vibe. He's never had sex. He's not interested in sex. But when they say rape is not about sex, it's about power? This is the guy who proves that. He rapes without having sex.
That's interesting.
But he's so non-threatening as a human being.
Yeah.
Like as much as I think Jay Leno is hack or whatever, he seems sort of like a genuinely nice person to me. I could be totally wrong about that. I think maybe I'm overcompensating for how much I used to like be like, oh, fucking Jay Leno, that's my parents' late night guy or whatever. Like, you know, fuck his normie bullshit. He's the representative of all normie bullshit. I'm a Conan man.
Hell yeah.
I'm living on the edge.
Conan would have brought better acting skills to the table. That's all I'm saying.
For
Somebody
sure.
say-
Conan would have done all kinds of like Bruce Lee fucking yelping shit.
Yeah.
Like just pretend karate.
It would have
Conan
been
would've
dumb,
won.
but it would have been
The
funny.
real.
It would've
That's
been-
it. Conan would have won.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point in the movie, we hard cut to Japan.
Yeah. I wrote that Mr. Miyagi's boss looks like a Japanese Wayne Newton. I don't know how accurate I am on that.
Pretty good.
I don't have the actor's name right in front of me, but that guy. Oh, that guy was in Karate Kid Part 2.
Asian Wayne Newton.
Yeah, he was in
Sorry, go ahead.
Karate Kid 2.
The we'll get to him. We're almost there. Keep going.
Okay. Then we find out about the only thing in this movie that has any sort of like plot surrounding it, even though it barely does, which is the turbocharger. Which is this chunk of metal.
I think
that
they
gets
call
put
it
next to an engine.
The prototype. Yeah, they call it the
They do call it the
prototype.
prototype, but I think it's called a turbocharger, right?
I don't know that they ever say it's a turbocharger. They just call it the prototype.
They don't say the word turbo.
We could almost call it anything at this point. It doesn't even matter.
Sure.
Well, I wrote down turbocharger for some reason.
You're probably right, though. You're probably right.
And so basically, Mr. Miyagi, or Noriyuki, quote, Pat Morita, he's at this, like... See, there were things about this movie, too, that as much as it had, like, nothing going on, I did get confused plot-wise, or, like, couldn't figure out certain characters' names unless I, like, looked them up. But this establishing scene in Japan, they're in, like, a private corporation, right?
Yeah.
But he is a detective, a policeman.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he is a detective.
He's just lying.
I think that part is completely a lie.
Why?
He carries it out all
Why?
the way
To not
end,
get arrested.
Huh.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's just then he's...
So is he just like a corporate fixer? You know,
I mean,
under the guise of being a cop?
Even in the beginning, though, the Wayne Newton guy, the leader of this Japanese company, he refers to him specifically as a detective. He's like, he's a really good detective.
Okay.
Like
maybe he is, and maybe this actually almost makes it worse, because it could be that the idea is, because his character, even on the thing, is Inspector Fujisuke Nakasu. The presentation of this would basically be that the Japanese government is so corrupt that, like, a government employee is doing espionage under the auspices of, like, you know, just helping an automotive company, which I guess would make sense in the context of, like, a bad American film from the 1980s. Like, oh, Japan is so bad that they even let their cops try to make their cars better than ours, you know?
Yeah, which, I mean, like, on that subject, it's a huge part of this movie. Not even huge, but it's just like a major, like, subtext sitting there the whole time, is like, it's okay to basically it's okay to be what would be considered at this time in history mildly, in a friendly type way, racist towards Japanese people by saying the word Jap a lot, or saying, I can speak Jap. Mitsubishi. Toshiba.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
Which is what this fat fucking homicide detective does to Mr. Miyagi early on.
This was the strike of genius that hit me that I was waiting for us to get to. This homicide detective who's kind of the major... He's basically the main foil to Jay Leno. He's the, like, you know, he's the real villain of the
He
film.
keeps telling him to stick to robbery, leave homicide alone.
Leave homicide to the big boys. Literally, everyone here in homicide is fat as hell.
Yeah.
That homicide detective guy, he looks like fat Wayne Newton. So
Multiple Newtons.
yeah, we're having a multi-Newton
Collision course in the multiverse of Newton.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a lot of Wayne
actually Jay Leno kind of looks like he could be young Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
This is definitely a Newton verse.
Yeah.
Jay Leno is a weird looking guy.
Yeah.
He sure
he's
is.
looking.
Yeah.
It's also in the sense that he can sort of not be weird looking at certain moments, but then he's incredibly uncanny most of the time. Okay. So then, I mean, again, this plot shit barely matters. Who's Oshima? I can't even remember who this.
That's the guy.
They're
has
vital,
the
but yeah.
Yeah.
He has the prototype.
And he
okay.
meets up with the shady characters who I still am not clear what their role was. Like, are they a gang? Are they a corporate espionage? I don't really know what the hell they were.
They work for the main baddie on the U.S. side.
Jeff,
right?
What was his name? Jeff Cannonball? What's that guy's name?
It's Jared spelled all fucked up.
Yeah.
Which I only know from using the
Sure.
the captions. Jared Starburst.
Yes. The one guy, one of the toughs, the main tough. I got excited because I was like, "Oh, is that the guy from Raising Arizona?"
It is.
It is, and then he raises Oshida up into the air until he dies from a heart attack. So, yeah.
Oh boy, good one. Yeah, that's true.
That was such an anticlimactic way to like kill that guy. Like, you're gonna go through all that trouble.
It was also an accident.
I also like that he's like, "Hold on," you know. One guy's like, "I think he's dead," and the other guy's, "No, you can't trust the inscrutable Chinese. He's using his Eastern trickery on us. He's not dead."
Yeah, he's just pretending.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, the two bad baddies, I don't know, enforcers.
Yes.
Are the gnarly guy from Raising Arizona, the biker from Hell, and then Tom Noonan, the serial killer from 80s Hell as well. So, like, I don't know. Seeing them in such a bad movie was also like,
I know. Noonan
mm-hmm.
is the man. Like, Tom Noonan is actually sick. Like, he's been in so many good movies. He's so cool.
He is cool. That's why I'm really curious what his like rewrites on the script were about.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, Josh, do you know there's a 12 Monkeys TV series on Sci-Fi? Is that related to the movie? It is.
I would assume so.
It says that it is. Oh man.
It's on Sci-Fi.
Tom Noonan is in this. Oh man. There's a 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is such a sick movie. Okay.
I do like that movie.
If we ever do a good
That's the
movie
one
on
with
the
Brad
show, we
Pitt.
should do 12 Monkeys.
I'd do 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys gets a little convoluted too in its own right.
I would like to rewatch it. Yeah.
good
You know
way.
what 12 Monkeys has that's pretty good and it's like way ahead of its time? Is 12 Monkeys did the like white girl in a well thing like in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like the whole trope of like
is that a trope?
the news will talk about a white girl falling down a well, but they won't talk about a black girl getting shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like they did
Yeah.
that shit and it was in the 90s. That was pretty sick. 12
Terry
Monkeys,
Gilliam,
welcome to the resistance.
visionary.
12 Monkeys, woke as hell. Woke AF. Anyways.
So Oshima gets got in a very bizarre way with
Yeah.
they come because they come like driving towards him all slow motion in this like crane. They're like menacingly approaching this Oshima guy like in the crane, which they then attach him to and hold him up in the air, and he just dies of a heart attack, I guess.
Yeah. Bum ticker.
I do recall the Raising Arizona biker hog man saying something like, "Don't make me come up there."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So then Pat Morita arrives in the land of plenty, the land of US of A. He's immediately racisted upon
Yes.
by a taxi cab driver who just like turns up his nose, like scrunches up his face at the idea of a Japanese man getting into his taxi, and just like closes, I don't know, puts up the like fucking no vacancy sign.
Yeah.
That's what they have in taxis, right? No vacancy.
Yeah, no room at the end.
But then he immediately gets the next taxi he looks for. So it's kind of like, what is this movie trying to say? Like, I don't know. But
the movie's trying to tell you that, like, racism exists, but it's not really holding you back. You just got to wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, your anti-racist bootstraps. The next scene in this movie, like this, especially the second time I watched it, because I was like, all right, now I'm actually paying attention. What the fuck is the point of this cookies scene with this kid? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it's got the guy from Ghostbusters.
And I don't know. Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson does show up. Yeah,
and he shows up like maybe one or two other times. Like,
he's not in it very much. No, but he's established as Leno's friend who like works in a car repair shop.
No, he's a cop.
He's a cop too?
Yeah, and that's the... okay, this
cops.
is the part that gets confusing, because, okay, you said... What did you say the actor's name was? Ernie Hudson?
Ernie Hudson,
okay. Yeah. You know his name, but you don't know Pat Morita's name. We'll just leave that there. Anyways,
What? You're the one who didn't know Pat Morita's name.
That's not true. I'm not the one who kept calling him Mr. Miyagi, motherfucker. I said Pat Morita.
You called him Pat
literally
Miyagi.
called him
okay,
Pat
that was
Miyagi.
just because he kept saying it. I was making a joke about Pat Morita. I knew, anyways. Anyway, Ernie Hudson is a cop, and at some point it feels like they imply that Ernie Hudson is Jay Leno's friend who works in homicide, but is like low-level detective in homicide.
But this is how bad this movie is.
Right.
They never even established that Jay Leno is never working in homicide, and neither is his friend. They're both in robbery division.
No, so okay, that's what I'm saying is I know that Leno is in robbery, and they give him shit for being in robbery. And it feels like they're saying Ernie Hudson is his friend who also works in robbery. But then later on, it seems like the way that Jay Leno is asking for Hudson to do a favor for him would imply that Hudson works in homicide. Because he's asking him to do a favor.
Like, look up the rap sheet.
Yeah, he's like, oh, can you get me access to this thing?
But that's something he can do himself, but anyway.
Probably. And then it also turns out that looking at the cast list here, Ernie Hudson's character's name is Shortcut.
Yes, he's Shortcut.
Which plays into the idea that he was a shortcut to just, like, fill in a plot hole. That's exactly. They were like, we need him to figure something out, so let's just put this guy in here, and he helps him get to it quicker.
That's one of those things that they put in, like, the placeholder name and just forgot to take it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I liked it in that scene when they break into that apartment. Leno looks at the TV and he's like, "Oh, it's a Nielsen family."
Oh yeah.
There's so many fucking bad jokes like
that. There's jokes.
So many.
There's lines. I don't even want to give them credit and say that word, the J word that you just called it.
Yeah.
There are so many lines in this movie that Jay Leno says that are completely inscrutable in the context of the narrative of the film. Unless
a lot of them are
you give them the undeserved credit of assuming that they're meant to be jokes because they're so goddamn unfunny that I don't think they deserve to be called jokes. They're just the ramblings of a madman. They're just this psychotic freak saying random words.
I don't want to let the writers off the hook, though, which is why I will say that they are trying really hard to be funny and clever, and they're failing so badly.
That one almost felt like Leno came up with that. I don't know. It was the way he said it that just felt like this is like straight from his like.
It does come across as like bad stand up that gets like shoehorned into a movie script, which is what so many stand ups in movies do.
Right.
Like even ones who can act, sort of. I don't know. I was going to say Chris Rock's actually not the best example, but
sure.
But I don't know. He's one of those stand-ups who just will like do his stand-up like as part of the script or whatever. Yeah. But
and he'll be like, the five apostles. You know they was brothers. That'll be in a movie for some reason. You're like, I saw this on a fucking DVD in the 90s, man.
I thought this movie was about him becoming the president. Yeah. What is he talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
But I got it.
The cookies. What are the cookies? Yeah, like the cookies don't make any sense.
What the fuck is with this cookie stack of boxes of cookies?
Like, was he selling them, or
he's selling them for sure? Because he's like talking about, but like, okay, we're not. There's this like little black kid who couldn't be more than like 12.
Sure,
and he's like has this kind of like giving each other shit relationship with Jay Leno
for no reason.
Yeah, and they like, and this is like bust in. I don't even remember where were they breaking into? What were they?
But they end up in a standoff, an armed standoff. You can say that. I can't say it. I guess even though I am technically, anyways, I can say a quarter Mexican standoff.
But before we get to the standoff,
okay,
I guess none of us can account.
This is the third example in the film of it doing like Jay Leno, friend to all Negroes. Like you said, it doesn't make any sense why he's got like bustin' chops relationship with this random little black kid, but he does. Any black person that Jay Leno interacts with in this film is like instantly on his side and his friend. Right?
Yeah, that's why I called the first guy Soul Brothers, because it's like that's what I would imagine him calling them.
Sure.
But yeah, so like this young kid who's like, it's basically like the idea of like selling like Girl Scout cookies or whatever, but they're like these unmarked boxes.
They don't fit in the context of what the cookies should look like.
And there's just stacks and stacks of these boxes everywhere, and like Jay Leno's like knocking them down by like, because he's trying to. I got a case that I'm.
Well, and he pays the kid off because the kid is like, I'm selling these cookies to the person here. They ordered them. It's supposed to be all those cookies are being delivered to someone who ordered them, right? Which also doesn't make any sense. Like,
no,
none of it makes any sense.
No.
But then Jay uses his wits and his wiles, and he does the old forget the warrant trick, which we all know.
Yeah.
We've all been
movies.
There. Yeah. He really knows the law, doesn't he?
So him and Ernie Hudson, right?
Shortcut.
Yeah. Ernie Hudson.
They like, again, I'm forgetting who they even arrest at this point. It doesn't really
Johnny Bad Time.
I don't think they arrest anyone. That's the thing. Or they do.
No, they do. They do the old they do the trick with the warrant, and I just can't remember what that character is.
I don't really understand what the point of this was at all.
There's a lot.
I thought it was just to establish him as a cop and what he does on a day-to-day. Because after this scene is immediately, oh, your friend at the junkyard got shot. Oh shit! I better go check it out.
Yeah, I guess maybe this is like a robbery case.
That arrest has nothing to do with any of the rest of the plot.
No, this is just him doing his job.
It's just an establishing scene. It's just to show like this is what his day to day looks like. That's all. I don't think it is not consequential to the rest of the movie. I mean, a lot of things in this movie are not consequential to the movie, but
one thing that is consequential is the idea of like shoulder-mounted. What I wrote down here in my notes as a gyrojet rocket gun.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There are multiple bazookas, bazooka type things in this movie that are One of them made me laugh out loud at a certain point. It just came out of nowhere.
Right.
Tom Noonan.
Yeah. He just shoots
the Tom Noonan junkyard firefight thing is fucking crazy. If we ever get to that part of the film, I'm very excited for it. We need to get a move on.
We're there now.
Okay.
Aren't we?
No.
That's the next scene because
we are like an hour away from that in the run of the movie. We are barely in the first 20 minutes of this thing.
I was thinking about the first part.
They get to the junkyard, and they're, like, digging through stuff. This is where the Jap counter goes through the roof, because this is, like, the main thing.
I was just about to say, I've got Jap.
Yeah.
I've got Jap.
What does he say? Can you call a Jap a John Doe?
Yeah,
and I put, wow.
That's the first thing he says. Would you call a Jap a John Doe? And then he's like, I think the Jap got Japicided by another Jap, maybe on the side of the Jap. And then he japped him off. It's fucking crazy because Jap is like a pretty intense racial slur. But later in the film, there's an even more intense racial slur. But I don't think in the context, I don't think it was meant to be a racial slur. Like, I think that they were literally using the word for what it actually means. But it was in the context of this film, it was insane to me. Because of how racist the movie had been up until that point. Anyways. So they find the dead Jap.
On that note, I will say thing I learned about Pat Morita today was that he used to go by the name The Hip Nip.
Oh, that's good.
That was his his self-chosen like moniker in like the 60s and 70s. Because we should say, for whatever context, which doesn't, I mean, like most people know Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi first and foremost, but he had like a long career of like mostly like sort of like goofy comedy shit. Like he was on Happy Days and whatever. I remember seeing him in like one of those like Leslie Nielsen like spoof movies in the 90s, and he had just like he had like a bit part as like a waiter. And for some reason it sticks with me so like vividly because like I don't even remember anything else about whatever that movie was, but it was like, holy shit, Mr. Miyagi's a waiter in this like gay bar, I guess, if I'm remembering right. And like he's speaking in that kind of Miyagi broken English, but then he shuts it off and just has this like lispy American voice, which is just, I mean, it's really cheap. It's a really cheap laugh, but I remember it getting me as a kid. So Jay Leno and Pat Morita, JL or PM as I call them here, they're now investigating the same hotel room. Because they're both equally wily smart cops.
I have to, before we move on. No, I have a bigger digression. It's not really a digression, but I just have to mention it. Number one, Pat Morita was in Sanford and Son. He was on the show Sanford and Son. You know what his character's name was? Ah Chew.
Nip.
AHCHEW. Ah Chew. That's very good. But
I bet that comes into play of some good wordplay.
Yes. The hip nip did make me think that unfortunately we missed out on a time where we could have had during that same time period like a Japanese cat trainer, cat specialist that could have been called Catnip. All right, continue.
Good Lord. Or Janet Jackson trainer named Hip Slip Nip.
Okay.
Yeah. Slipknot.
When I dip, you dip, we nip. Anyways, continue.
So they're in a hotel room. It's very boring. I have here next to my notes.
Really like
Leno goes anti-Jap berserker, arrests Pat Morita.
Yes.
The worst part about this, though, I have to say, this may be like the peak of the movie for me, is when Jay Leno's like lurking around in the shadows of this hotel room, and then suddenly the lights turn on, and he goes,
Yes.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is...
And then Pat Morita starts turning the light off and on again, which was actually the only, like, it was actually kind of funny the way he's doing that.
Yeah, he's fucking with the light.
But,
Wait.
Hey, we're the monkeys thing just blew my mind as, like, insanely unfunny and stupid and, like, attached to nothing.
Yep.
I also wrote that Jay Leno has poor trigger discipline. I mean, if you notice the way he's holding the gun,
Yes. That's right.
you're supposed to have your finger on the you know.
Which is
trigger
interesting
guard.
because he doesn't have any children. So you would think. Anyways, was it supposed to be that Pat Morita was flicking?
This director didn't catch
Hello,
that.
God. This podcast right here. Yeah. I also wrote. Can I just say really quick? I also wrote that when Mr. Miyagi gets away from him, and Leno calls security, he's like, "Just hold anybody that looks different."
Yes,
Yes.
I noticed
Oh.
that.
Yes.
All right.
This
That's what we're working
scene
with. Here.
had some of the best stuff. One, is it supposed to be that Pat Morita is
We can
flipping
call
the
him
lights?
Miyagi, it's fine.
I'm gonna call him Miyagi.
Is it
I don't care
supposed to be
about
that
y'all.
he's flicking the lights? Because I read it like Jay Leno was flipping the lights.
No.
You
It was Mr. Miyagi.
You would almost think that
Right.
would make more sense because you would think he's the one who flipped the light on,
Right.
but it's not. It's just him. It's him like in the corner of the room holding his gun,
Okay.
and Miyagi just happened to like turn the light on, and Jay Leno acts like
Says
I'm the cool as a cucumber cop who just lets out witticisms from the corner like, hey, we're the monkeys.
yes,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is what that is the peak. When I was talking earlier about not wanting to refer to the random verbiage that flows from his mouth as that J word, like this was the peak of it. When Leno says, hey, we're the monkeys, in a context that, like you said, makes absolutely no sense. It's like a floating signifier at this point because it's hard for me in 2023 to even kind of grope at the concept of what the monkeys are. Also, he's just one dude. He's not a group of people. So why is he referring to himself as a group of people?
You've got a grammatical bone to pick.
I'm just saying like that, like it none of it makes sense. On top of the fact it's just not being funny or clever in any way.
No, it's
It's
stupid
just-
on every level.
Why
Yeah.
does this
That's almost
happen?
as bad as it's a Nielsen
Yeah.
family.
It is.
You know what's
Yeah.
weird that I'm staring at right here is that this movie got a release in Japan in September '89, but still didn't get a release in the U.S. till '92.
That's sick. That's so sick. But yeah,
To be a fly on a wall in a Japanese theater.
Right.
I was gonna give credit and say that Jay Leno's character, because I did my Jap count and I kept track of who said it, and they really did seem to kind of like intentionally make it so the only people who actually said the word Jap were like supposed to be bad guys. So I was like, maybe like Jay Leno's character is not like particularly racist, but you, Adrian, you did call it out because it is true that there is on the phone where Jay Leno says, just hold anybody who looks different. So
Yeah.
he doesn't deserve the credit for his character to be less racist.
No.
Yeah.
No. That was would you say that's a product of the time, Like, were people just that openly racist back then, or
Yes.
I think that
I don't know.
yes,
I
I
they
think that particular slur was like, I think even today it's for sure more not accepted, but it's like I don't, if I'm quoting it, I don't feel like I'm gonna like vomit up my soul the way I would if I was, say, quoting worse,
Sure.
in my mind,
Well,
worse
okay.
slurs.
The thing is, yeah, it's
But-
like I'm fine with saying Jap, but I wouldn't call someone a Jap. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
also, it's that thing where you go like, Jap is like the N word for Japanese people. Like I thought about that at one point, and then I was like, yeah, but why did you not say the word? Why did you say N word? Right? Like that proves the
Yeah.
difference. You know?
It's not.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I was going to say that I think it just has to do with like our like grandfathers were in like World War II, and so we give any World War II grandpa the Jap pass. It seems like. I mean,
well, it's
Sure,
interesting
sure.
to me, like when words go out of like style like that. Like I watch old Dick Cavett interviews from like the 60s and 70s where they refer to like the Negro race, the Negro people. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, what?
but those were the anti-racists. Like she's saying that, right?
But even
Or
back, yeah. So it's like,
sometimes, yeah.
like I wonder how, like, does it gradually go out of style, these sort of words, or does it just like the next generation is like, no, you can't say that anymore. Like that's done.
Was it-
You know?
I think language stuff is pretty gradual, but
Yeah.
like
yeah.
it depends. I don't know.
Josh, do you remember? Was it Goldwater? Am I right about this? The quote where he's like, you know, you used to be able to stand in front of people and you could say, you know, N word, N word, N word, and then but now you can't say it like that anymore. So you say, you know, you talk about crime rates and you talk about, you know, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
Yeah, there was like a behind closed doors thing, and he was like basically explaining exactly what you're talking about there, Adrian, which is the what they call the euphemism treadmill, like the idea that like language
Yeah.
changes, but you do dog whistles. I think it was Goldwater,
Oh, right.
but he was saying like yeah, or actually maybe no. Anyways, we should move on. It might have been Jim Crow. It might have been
Quick.
Jim Crow that this quote.
Quick digression. Remember when it was McCain versus Obama?
Yes.
And somebody's like, he's a Muslim, and McCain's like, no, man, he's a good
He's
person.
a good person. Yes.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Anyway, sorry.
I feel bad because I'm definitely sure now that it was not Goldwater and it was Jim Crow. That was a Jim Crow quote where he said, we used to be able to
Probably.
just say the N-word and be like, we're going to keep them out of the neighborhood. Now we have to talk about crime rates.
Right. I get that. That's a whole other
But
podcast
we can all,
right there.
instead of worrying about that, we can all just worry about the fact that we can still say Jap and nobody's going to get mad at us. Anyway.
I
like-
have a note here. Maybe you guys can clear this up for me. This is in the midst of the chase in the hotel after Hey Hey We're
Yeah.
the Monkeys. Quote, this is Leno speaking, I think. Shut up, lady, you're not on a game show. Does anyone
Yeah, I
remember?
remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
I thought that
I didn't get
I have like 6 question marks after that because it was just so random. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
so, it seemed connected to nothing, really.
I did like Mr. Miyagi's attempt to get away on the co-rack, though. That was pretty funny. Like, visually, like, from
Yes,
sort of
when
slapstick
he starts,
point of
when
view.
he's still wearing...
That's one of my favorite parts of
Yeah.
this dumbass movie.
That's the best part of the movie,
Yeah.
when he's got the zipped up thing on and he just he runs off and he's still in it.
Well,
That's good.
I'll tell you what the zipped up thing is called because Jay Leno yells out the word several times. He says, this is written in the quotations section on IMDb, but I remember it anyway, just from the movie. He screams out, "Stop that garment bag."
Oh, that's what he said. I just thought that was an old racial slur that I didn't understand.
Well, I was about to say earlier when we were talking about Jap this, Jap that maybe because Leno didn't use the word that much, he was finding other ways to get around it, like garment bag or I don't know. There are like several times where Leno just says like a Japanese adjacent word. But like
I was half
with like
expecting
no
that.
other
Yes.
words around it. He's just like, because I have written down here like Leno says Godzilla quote joke.
Yeah.
I remember that part too. Yeah,
Okay.
He's just he's like narrating like the script of a Godzilla movie. He's like, "Oh no, Godzilla has invaded the village," and it's just because Pat Morita is speaking in Japanese on the telephone.
Yeah. That's really good.
What is this mumbo jumbo? Am I in a Godzilla movie?
I was half expecting Leno at one point to ask Mr. Miyagi where his clean shirts were, but that never happened.
We didn't quite get there.
He's Japanese, not Chinese. So.
We do.
Nice head on that, Tim. Nice head on that.
Thank you.
We do get introduced to. I'm a little lost even on this name wise, but there's Jared, spelling Jarryd, horrendous.
Brutal.
Jared Starburst, I have listed as Car Weirdo CEO, but then after that I wrote Derek Jared, which is what his real name is.
Okay.
It's like he's got like the two first names thing, but they're both spelled in a stupid way. Yeah. Derek is Derryk.
Yeah.
With the bad spelling of Jared. So anyway, he's sort of is anyone even a major character in this movie? Not really.
No.
But
not really.
Oh yeah, I have here Leno's bad quote disguises. There are multiple times where he just does the lamest shit to like hide out. Like one of them, like he pays that like the girl who works at, the newsstand or whatever.
The underage woman that he asks for her home phone number.
He also pervs on her, but he like it shows him like revealing himself, and he's like he just like looks up and takes off a hat, and he's like pretending to smoke a cigar.
But he's also behind the counter.
Exactly.
It's like you're disguised as a person who's sitting there smoking a cigar, reading a newspaper.
So conspicuous.
Behind the counter? Like, what?
What was the other one though? There was another one he did. No, I can't remember it. I didn't write it down, I guess. But
sure.
He had multiple bad disguises like that. Oh, the other one was he was just literally walking around with a little like one of those like birthday balloons just in front of his face.
Oh yes, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
That was before. That was when he met the photo booth girl.
That's right.
He's like, hey,
we gotta get to this bar fight scene. We got it.
Oh, I love the bar fight scene.
So
it's so random and out of place.
I love it. It doesn't make any sense.
What the fuck was
the bar fight scene? Should have been like a comedy sketch on like College Humor or something like that. It should not have been in this movie.
Now you're insulting College Humor.
Sure.
And I will not stand for it.
There was another video.
You guys,
anyways,
talk about the bar scene.
Let's get into the bar fight scene.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Let's talk about the bar scene.
So
context.
Yes. So they're following someone after the car show, and I think even after they get like all liquored up in the whiskey thing, which we can just skip all of that. Who cares? Jay Leno was like, we need probable cause to get this, to bust this guy that they're following. And then the guy like does like a huge U-turn around like 6 fucking lanes and shit. And he's like, oh, now we got it. A legal U-turn. We got this guy. You know, Eureka.
Right.
Which all of that is crazy, but it does remind me of something that crossed my mind recently. And I just like had or heard someone explain this, and I never thought about it. You know that Jay-Z song where he's like, I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one?
Classic.
In that song, he's talking about getting pulled over by the cops, right? And like his rights, and I don't have to show you this and that and all that. I heard it explained like just a couple days ago. 99 problems and a bitch ain't one is about the bitch being a police dog coming to sniff the drugs that were in his trunk.
Oh, really?
Had that never crossed your mind as well? Because it had never crossed my mind at all.
It adds a new dimension to that.
It really does. The idea that, like, you would think, like, Jay-Z, a guy who's not thought of as a woke king, was being...
Right.
He was not being misogynist. He was not talking about a bitch. He was not calling a woman a bitch. He was saying, I got 99 problems, but tonight a bitch is not one. Meaning that a female dog did not show up to smell the drugs in the trunk of his car. Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy enough that he keeps track of his problems that well.
Sure,
like, he knows I've got at
all
least
I've got
99 problems.
I've got all of them.
But a bitch ain't
A bitch
one.
is not one of my 99 problems. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Man. Now I'm never going to listen to that song the same way again.
Re-listen to the
Thank
song
you for
and be
that.
like, oh my god, this is not a misogynist song. He's not talking about women. No, he's not saying I keep my bitch in line. He's saying I got 99 problems, but they didn't bring a police dog. Anyways, so Jay Leno catching the guy on the U-turn is kind of like that, where it's like doing just probable cause thing. You're going to pull somebody over for some bullshit. But
Yeah.
he flips the bitch, he follows the guy into the bar, and inside the bar, he's got the hardest street gang in the history of gangs, which includes the biker from hell from Raising Arizona. But it's also got, like, a community bowling league that has, like, a triple thick, like, Haitian dude. Like, this guy, he's not, like, just a regular black guy.
Triple Haitian.
He's a triple thick Haitian. You know what I'm talking about. You saw him. The guy,
I know exactly.
The guy
who
in the
you're
lime
talking
green
about.
bowling shirt. Like, he's not just like, oh, just get a black trucker. No, this guy is like a triple thick Haitian who's like weirdly like, hey, Japanese man, how do you feel about tariffs? Like, he's like, how do you feel about geopolitics? And getting into detail. And like, again, it does not make sense in the context of this. And Adrian, I will say, maybe you're right that I shouldn't slander college humor. I was trying to remember another like comedy video site from that era, and I can't remember the name of it.
Funny or Die.
Funny or Die, I think is the website I was thinking of.
Yeah.
We used to post on that.
The bar fight scene felt like a clip that should have been on Funny or Die and not in this movie.
Yeah.
Right? Where you've got the triple thick Haitian being like, hey, Japanese man, how do you feel about, and then the biker from hell just being like, I'm just going to beat him up. And everyone else is like, nah, man, you got to be nice to him. He's Japanese in America. We got to treat him as well as we would like to be treated if we were in Japan.
Yeah, he was like, be an accommodating nationalist or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, this scene was probably the most like head spinning.
Yes.
Like the tone, just every half line of dialogue, the tone was shifting into like a different movie. So it was like, I think what they were going for was this whole thing of like, okay, these are like I don't know, whatever, low down
salt of
slobs.
the earth. Yeah.
Salt of the earth. But we're going to make them talk in kind of a half sophisticated way because that itself is funny.
Sure.
Which it could be in the right hands, in the right context. But with no context of who any of these fucking people are. Also, I called this the bowling alley scene.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, so there's this like quote unquote highbrow dialogue from the slobs. But then there's also regular slob dialogue. And then it just breaks out into like another shitty fight scene that goes on for too long.
That includes like props, like the vending machine and the bowling ball.
That was exactly my next note, was the vending machine. When they smashed that guy's head straight through the all glass vending machine, glass pane, that's pretty decent.
It's pretty sick. The only thing that would make it better.
I like the Indiana Jones moment.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I like the Indiana Jones moment where Mr. Miyagi's gonna like do some karate moves and the guy just kicks him through that.
Yeah, I like that.
That lattice wall.
Yeah, I like that. I liked the vending machine. It would have been slightly better if it was a cigarette machine, just to really age and date the time. Yeah, it would have
way better.
But they didn't know. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s, they didn't think that they were gonna make cigarettes illegal by 2024. You know what I mean? So they were like, we don't need to do a relic of the time. And then, the bowling ball I thought was another good prop where he smashes the guy's foot and his face with the bowling ball. Like there was some solid, prop work in here with some gags. They literally leave that scene and go to someone else's house and they leave the detail that Jay Leno's coat is ripped as they walk up to the door, but they don't leave the detail that Pat Morita's nose was busted and bleeding. So they get to the door, and Jay Leno has a still ripped coat.
They heal fast. They heal
and then
faster.
the inscrutable Chinese. They don't heal like normal men. So he doesn't have a bloody nose anymore. But after Jay Leno rings the doorbell and knocks on the door, the next cut back, his jacket is also healed. And his jacket is no longer ripped. Yeah. So that's incredible.
There's a lot of like really weak like continuity errors in this movie that I only really noticed because of the IMDb stuff, because this movie was hard to pay attention to, I gotta say.
And
oh my god, this is where I stopped taking notes because of that. I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't think it's worth taking notes at this point, so I pretty much just stopped. After the bar fight.
I gotta say, before the bar fight, or what I call the bowling alley fight, there's a couple of funny things we have to mention, which is basically, I mean, there's a huge turn in the movie, which is that Pat Morita convinces Jay Leno to work together with him as partners.
Yeah.
And then Jay Leno is like instantly won over for no reason whatsoever.
Also, it feels so late in the game to do this. Like, I thought they were going to team up back when they were in at the police station the first time. And he's talking to his boss, Wayne Newton back home. I thought in that scene was when they were going to partner up, but no, they didn't. The story kept going, and now we're like, what is it, like 3/4 of the way in, probably more than that, and now
Something
they're
like
going to team up. Now they're going to decide to be partners. I'm like, okay,
yeah, it's
the purpose of the premise was this is a buddy cop movie with a guy from another world and an American, maverick cop or whatever you want to call him, but we don't get that till towards the end.
I guess what they were more interested in this movie was having the white part of the buddy cop duo just arrest the minority multiple times before they become friends.
Yeah, right.
But like,
what a strange dynamic that is.
At one point, Leno says to Pat Morita, I just have here, quote, "stir fry your face. I'm gonna stir fry your face."
Yep, he does say that.
I don't recall that. Oh my god.
I also have metal detector plus gun, quote, bit.
Yeah, that was that was incredibly.
That was amazingly.
That's like the level of. That's like the bad joke story that you tell one time, like, and you're like, "Hey, you guys want to hear this funny story? I was at the, I was trying to get onto a plane, and then the metal detector guy is like, something keeps setting us off." I was like, you know what it is? It's probably my gun. And then the metal detector guy is like, "Oh yeah, that's what it was." And and then like when you tell the story, you like make it funnier than what happened in real life. What they opted to do in this film was show you real life, the unfunny version of the story. They were like, let's show the unfunny version of the story.
The unfunny, I agree, but also not really real life either, because what moron would forget that they have a fucking handgun in their fucking pants?
Well, the idea is not that he forgets it, but the idea is that the metal detector person like is acting like they don't understand it or whatever. Like, yeah,
it's so stupid. It was like, it made me smack my forehead, like, level of stupid when I was watching it, because that's the other thing is, like, as much as Jay Leno might suck or whatever, he can at least deliver a line like it's supposed to be funny.
Sure.
So, like, in that scene, for example, he's like, isn't it funny? He says something like, isn't it funny how it always works like that? It's like, what do you mean? That's not like a common saying, like, oh, always check your waistband for a handgun. Like, what the fuck you talking? What is this folksy wisdom you're imagining? Like, He's just like, I don't know. Like, I can't, it's almost impossible to describe how uncanny some of these scenes are. Like, there's just something really weirdly off about them. And it all comes from like pure laziness. Like, I can understand how it came about, but trying to describe it without just like showing someone like within the context of the movie, I don't know. It's a little bit of a challenge, to be honest. But,
yeah. Are we ready to get back to the fight scene?
No, we are not, because there's a scene I cannot overlook, because I thought like the stupid gun scene. Oh yeah, so like as was said, like Jay Leno's just suddenly like, okay, we're best buds now, or not even best buds, but like he's still being an asshole, but like, okay, we're gonna be partners, and this was the thing I noticed so much throughout the movie, is how often he's dragging Pat Morita around physically, like like grabbing his jacket or his arm,
or pulling him onto his lap.
It's so like infantilizing. Yeah, I mean that the lap thing is what I was trying, was like long way of getting towards, but he also like kind of mocks him for like taking off his shoes at the door.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's up with that? Like, he's like, I show great respect for your home,
this is
Tony-san.
It is the classic, like, it's the demasculizing of Asian men in American culture. It's like, it's treating Asian men as if they're like, they're not men. They're, barely even human, let alone being like, men. Yeah, exactly. And pulling him onto his lap thing while like, rubbing his shoulders and all that. It was just very. There's definitely something psychosexual about that. That's insane. But yes.
His and then here's what like goes again. Like, it's this whole problem of like trying to take Jay Leno and put him into the mold of Riggs from Lethal Weapon. You go to his home, you see his apartment, and they're just clearly they're following the tropes. They're like, okay, this guy's a slob. He's a drunk. So like he's got like bottles of liquor around and like pizza boxes everywhere, basically. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to clean it up. Like nothing rings true about any of it. It's just so, I don't know. It's just so poorly done. And then this is the scene where he like instantly too, like they get right down to business. He's just like, now we're gonna pound whiskey, and you're gonna tell me what I want to hear. And he gets Pat Morita drunk, like very obviously like trying to get him drunk, and then asking him like probing questions about the case or whatever. And then it turns into them like bonding, I guess.
Sure.
But so what all this reminded me of?
They weren't bonding. They were bonsaiing.
Yeah, they were bonsaiing, which is what happens in the scene in Karate Kid 1, the first one, where Pat Morita actually shows like real acting chops. Like he was nominated for fucking Academy Award for that movie. I always forget about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for like supporting actor. But there's a scene in that movie where he gets drunk and he's like looking at like a picture of his wife and he's just like thinking about, regrets, whatever. Like the whole story within that movie. I'm just saying this all for comparison's sake to like two drunk scenes, basically. But like in Karate Kid, which is, I guess, directed by someone competent, he gets a chance to like, I don't know, be a real actor. And it turns into this like kind of memorable scene, at least for a lot of people. Like I found some articles about it actually that just said that they were gonna cut that scene initially. Like a lot of the upper brass or whatever, and the producers wanted to cut the scene, but then I don't know, maybe no, not the kid, but somebody was basically like, it's like the heart of the movie where he's like, he's slurring his words and he's fucked up, but it's like it's really good, as opposed to the scene in this movie, which is like a few years after the fact of Karate Kid, where they're like, you can almost imagine they're trying to recreate the same thing, possibly. I mean, I guess like maybe not. Like you could just have a drinking scene, because mostly the point of the whole that scene seems to be Jay Leno being a detective and trying to get his source drunk to get more info.
I kind of took it as like that scene that you always get in these kinds of movies where it's like the characters, maybe they get a little drunk and now they're becoming emotionally vulnerable,
right?
And they sort of like learn something about about each other in the process. But it didn't really land in this movie. Like it felt very much like a lot of scenes in this movie. It just felt very much like a throwaway.
They don't learn anything about each other.
No, not at all. Like that's the whole point of a buddy cop movie, is that they're sort of supposed to be best friends by the end. Nice shot there, Tim. And you don't really get that in this movie. Like I didn't really feel like in the end Leno's character really liked Mr. Miyagi, or vice versa. I just felt like, oh, we had a little romp through the streets of Detroit, and that's it. See you later, sayonara.
Exactly.
And,
the final lines of the movie.
Like nothing works. Like when they try to be emotional or funny or whatever, it's like none of it works. It doesn't coalesce into a.
This is maybe
nice,
one of the
little
more,
comedy.
and I guess I would say I'm a bad movie aficionado. This is one of the more like disjointed movies I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
nothing.
But it also like it has this like the surface level like veneer of like, oh, it's just a dumb 80s buddy cop movie. Like you look at the poster, which I'm looking at right now, and they're like back to back with their guns drawn, like side-eyeing each other, like, could you believe this guy? And but then we sit down and watch it, and it's like the most unfunny, quote unquote funny man, and then the guy who played Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
I think that the poster and the like a lot of the issues, and this happens with a lot of movies, is that when the in between filming, editing, everything, and then you get to it, you like try to present something different than what's on the tape. And this was not like a buddy cop thing. But by the time they're trying to put it out, they're trying to like present it that way. And they did not film that movie. They did not film a buddy cop movie. This is not a buddy cop movie, but they like kind of like try to.
Sometimes the marketing does not match what the actual movie is. Like the marketing can be way off.
I think it gets muddied more and more as like time in between, because you're looking at like the difference between it being filmed in 87 and then the earliest releases starting in 89 and then beyond into 1992. Like you're just completely,
and not even in theaters, on VHS.
Yeah. You're just like completely. You're like trying to sell a totally different movie than what was actually filmed.
Yeah. I wonder if this is just like a tax write-off movie. Like we gotta film it. We gotta film something.
It seems
for tax purposes. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the most optimistic
sure.
Yeah.
possibility, honestly.
Who can we get? Mr. Miyagi. Perfect. Who else? Jay Leno, the comedian guy. Oh, sure. Done. Do it.
Yeah.
But
where the fuck are we in the storyline of the film?
I don't even know where we are.
All right,
we're
so,
getting close to the end now, right?
So now we are. Okay. After the drinking, this is what I'm about to say is right between what I just said and the bar fight, and then we'll move on.
All right.
We'll get through it. But this was one of the more funny parts of, or whatever, stupid, ridiculous parts of the movie to me. Wake up the next morning, Jay Leno is like asleep. His head is like under his couch, which shows that he got fucked up, I guess. But it's still like totally unbelievable because it's Jay Leno. He's like pretending to have a hangover. Oh, that was the other thing. In the drunk scene, he did some of the worst drunk acting I've ever seen in my life. While Pat Morita did some of the best Oscar-worthy drunk acting in Karate Kid, for comparison's sake. But next morning, Bad pretending to have a hangover. House is really clean. Thank you, Mr. Miyagi. You've cleaned my house because you honor my house. Coffee's made. He's being very domestic. Then I have your terrible quote-unquote comedy, spilling hot coffee on himself. And I thought maybe this was like if it was trying to be anything, all I could think was, did the McDonald's lawsuit just happen recently with the hot coffee? Is that but I mean, that still doesn't make any sense, but like, he just very falsely spills this hot coffee on himself, within seconds of getting it. It's perplexingly bad.
Yeah.
And then they all this shit happens within the span of 5 seconds. He's insulting Mr. Miyagi still in the morning as he wakes up. I don't trust you. You Japs stole all of the good car jobs. Why'd you make the coffee so hot? That's the other thing. He spills coffee on himself like a dumbass, and he's like, why'd you make it so hot? And then what's the line? He pulls. This part was so bizarre to me. Oh yeah, Leno says, no. Miyagi says, you need a wife. Leno grabs him, puts him on his knee, and says, this is one of the most false attempts at comedy in the whole movie. I think we should live together first. He whispers sensually into Mr. Miyagi's ear, and then just cuts away from the whole thing like nothing ever happened.
That was Leno's idea too. That wasn't even in the script.
Yeah.
That was Leno improvising.
Leno apparently really, really hates the fact that he's been in this movie, and I guess Letterman used to play clips from it to antagonize him back in the 90s.
Good.
But it also he I think I said he went on the Carson show after the movie had come out and was just him and Morita together went on Johnny Carson and were talking about it, and they both said this movie is bad, it ran out of money, we're both really ashamed of this film, which is why it never came to America until 1992 on VHS exclusively.
On VHS,
Sure.
yeah. Wow.
They go to a car convention. Right before that.
Oh,
though,
we haven't even gone to the car convention.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is all in between the bar fight. But the car, right before the car convention, they're driving through the slums of Detroit.
Yeah.
And Jay Leno says, I don't have the exact quote here. I just wrote, Japan ruined Detroit with your tin cars and slave wages.
Yep.
Wow, I don't remember that
He
part.
did.
It's easy to miss. This is when it's there's more shitty 80s music playing, and they're just driving, and he's just lisping. Leno,
Yeah.
Mr.
Leno
Miyagi should have said, "Who's your president?
Yeah.
Reagan. Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you. You're blaming us. Reagan's your. You know what Reagan did to your country?
You know what?
A whole rant
Yeah.
is what he should have got.
What he should have said is, you know what Reagan's wife did to
my knob.
throat-
she
The throat goat.
pat Miyagi with the back of her throat.
Yeah.
Leno again does his sort of creep ass I'm gonna get her
Uh-huh.
number routine to some woman working at the car convention.
And
Where's
she just
Mavis?
completely fucking jobbed his ass out. She did not even acknowledge
That was
him.
true,
Yeah,
yes.
it was sick.
Oh wow.
Um,
His riz is bad.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. It's bad riz.
But then the bad guys show up and they start kind of fucking with Pat Morita, and all I have written down here though is that he calls himself Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that was sick. I was like, "Oh my god, The Rock." He called it out.
In the captions, it was spelled differently.
Sure.
But still prescient.
Yeah.
Predicting The Rock in advance.
He was probably alive at this point. He probably was a human being who existed in the world. But
He was alive, yes. So then the bowling alley fight, which we talked about. Right after the bowling alley fight, Jay Leno calls Ernie Hudson and like asks him, whatever, give me the fucking rap sheet on. I can't even remember who at this point. One of the fucking bad guys. And Ernie Hudson memorably says, "This guy's done everything except rape Bambi."
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Pretty stellar line.
I like that other people in the background are doing the actual investigating into what Leno and Mr. Miyagi should be investigating, by the way. Like,
well, see, that's why I even forgot that Hudson was a detective at that point in the movie, because in that point in the movie, he's in just like a car. He's in like a garage. He's in like a car repair shop.
yeah.
But he's like reading off like the list of crimes or whatever from
Did
there.
you notice that he's talking to them on the phone, but Leno's responding on a walkie mic?
No, I didn't notice that.
Did you not? Did you guys pick it?
Yeah.
I thought that was so. I was like, wait a minute. That's not the way that
would
works.
not
That's
It's CB
hilarious.
happen
radio.
that way. It's not even in the 80s.
Unless the phone has some kind of a way to like, I don't know. Unless it.
They didn't have
it
that
doesn't
shit
make
in
sense.
the 80s.
I think
man.
that's a straight up capital G goof, if you ask me.
Like,
you ought
they
to
should've had-
add it to the IMDb.
Yep.
Either they're both on a phone handset, which I would have accepted, or they're both on a walkie.
I mean,
CD
I watched
handset.
it twice and didn't notice, so
Yeah.
I guess that they got one over
It was
on
the
me.
first thing I noticed. I was like, wait a minute, why is Ernie Hudson talking to him like he's on the phone? But then Leno's in the car with the. Yeah, that was bizarre to me. Of all the things in this movie.
I've got a 3 out of 10 star user review right in front of me, just entitled
Wow.
"Leno's swearing, all that's memorable." but then I'm reading this and I'm like, I can't even remember him swearing. I mean, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he said shit or something at some point. But like,
I think that's pretty much it.
he's just so Jay Leno that like none of that could compute for me. Like,
that was in his contract. Like, no swearing, guys. No swearing. Just let's keep it clean, okay? Now racism though. Racism I'll do. I'll drop the J word like it's nothing.
Here's the
Just
thing,
no
Adrian.
swearing.
It's funny, but it's not nasty. Yes.
Oh God. Throwback. Yeah. Wow. Wow. This movie's just full of moments.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That, it's not nasty.
It's not nasty.
Pat Morita, fascinated by doorbells, I have written here. When they go to Tom Noonan's house, Scully, as he's called in the movie, they get the address from Ernie Hudson on Scully. Scully's the one who's done everything except rape Bambi.
Yet.
Then I just have beneath, because there is this dumb thing where Pat Morita is like, he's just like genuinely fascinated by doorbells. He's like, we don't have doorbell in Japan. And he's like ringing the doorbell.
He's like, each bell noise speaks and sanctify great elder from many century ago family, and you do with push button each bell ring and respect elder. Oh, very nice.
But it's just this like it's just this throwaway trash that lasts for like 3 seconds and then it's gone like it never existed. It's so funny.
Yeah, I like when Pat Morita is
funny,
breaking
I mean
it down
not
sexual
funny.
style in the rave when they get into the club. Yeah, but
Oh, we haven't even gotten
we're
there
all,
yet,
not
have
even
we?
quite there. But we haven't even got to the firefight, which I was already at
All
like
right,
an hour ago.
We can go.
Let's get to the firefight.
Tom Noonan shoots a bazooka.
Noonan is a one-man wrecking machine. He's got all the shit that people say that like militarized police shouldn't have. Tom Noonan has got all that shit.
He's got it in the trunk of his. Yeah.
He's got a rocket launcher. He's got a flamethrower. He's got multiple clips, banana clips.
The bazooka part of this scene is what made me laugh. It was the only genuine laugh I got, I think, through the whole movie.
When he blows up the house.
Yeah, he blows it, and keep in mind, he's blowing up his own house to do this.
I love that they hop a train, and then the train stops. That's so sick. Yeah, that was so sick.
Oh, so bad.
That was so cool.
I mean, I guess it's unexpected.
I also loved just a big old pallet full of watermelons that they throw a grenade into.
Yes.
And to be like, it's, who knows? Is it viscera or is it watermelons? We don't know. Is it human flesh exploding or is it watermelons? That was cool.
I thought that too. I was like, are they trying to mix, like, even the watermelons themselves looked fucking pale and weird. I don't know if you noticed that.
Right. Those were not watermelons. They were actually like some kind of weird, like, hybrid Japanese honeydew melon.
Alien eggs. Yeah. So Tom Noonan's dead. Scully has died. And there's another stupid shootout. The shootout continues. This is when Pat Morita says to Jay Leno, like, I can't shoot a gun. We don't use guns in Tokyo.
Right.
Which is another thing that made me think he was really a cop, because that's like a true thing about cops in Japan, but I don't know. Yeah. But then there's another Leno quip, real witty shit, where he just, in response to Pat Morita's like actual acting, where he's like, I can't use a gun. I never learned how, whatever. His response is, this isn't Benihana. Like,
oh, that's right.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's right. Yeah.
He's like, we're about to die. I can't handle the gun. I don't handle guns in Tokyo. You know, take out some of the articles from what I just said, but response, this isn't Benihana. Come on, man.
I wonder if he's saying, like, in Benihana, you use knives and shit. So he's implying, like, you're not going to be using knives in a gunfight.
Again,
like you wouldn't.
Creative thinking, giving benefit of the doubt. That's a fair read.
I'm trying to help him out, I'm trying to help him out.
I don't think they intended that, but I like your read on it. No. So then, the next thing I have in my notes after the Benihana line is Leno attacks Big Bad, who we still haven't really established. He's basically just like a mafia don of some sort. He's a mafia leader, but like, I don't know, seems like sort of out of his element in a way. I don't know. It's just, this is a bad movie, folks. But he's like verbally attacking him in public. I forget where they even are, but he's just basically like yelling all this shit at him, right? About like his various crimes. And Pat Morita is actually like trying to get him to shut the fuck up. He's like, why are you blowing our cover like this?
Right.
But this is when Leno does the whole fucking elaborate Italian swearing hand gestures move, where he's
right.
What do you even call that when you like fucking flip your hand under your chin? It's
just like, I don't know if there's a word for it.
I don't know either, but he does that really intensely, and also does the thing where like you bring up one of your hands like you're gonna flip somebody off.
Yeah.
but you don't actually raise the finger. You just like kind of slam your bicep against your other hand.
Yeah.
He does that. He does that like 3 times, rapid succession. Flicks his chin, his giant Leno chin, by the way, which I thought was like perfect for this like Italiano fucking swear gesture, and then grabs his fucking nuts.
Yep.
Did you notice the nut grab?
I did.
Yeah.
It was.
You have to have the nut. If you're gonna do all that, you have to have the nut grab.
Yeah, you gotta like stick
required.
the nut grab, land the nut grab.
How do you leave out the nut grab?
I mean, I bring this up because it very importantly comes back at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah. If there's one thing they traded culturally, was that.
Yeah. We're almost done here, I think.
This is
This
is when
There's the overly long
This is
chase
when-
scene.
but this is when we get to the club.
Yeah.
The club.
Yeah. And this
So
is
they're
where
in a
Pat Morita
bar
breaks it
and-
down sexual style.
Yeah, before that they're like stupidly talking about the plot still sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
And they're kind of just getting their drink on. And then Jay Leno is like, "Go dance with all these ethnic chicks." And that's what it is. It's just like he's like, this is again the whole like Leno soul brother thing. They're in this like, I don't know. Like I was gonna say like in a movie today it wouldn't be so weird, but it still would be weird. Just like a fucking like mayonnaise white man like Leno to just like, yeah, I totally fit in an all black club. Like, and in fact, I'll make you dance with my little Asian man friend, which is basically what he does. He's like, show my friend a good time. Like, it's all sort of like shorthand for like what would be more interesting in like an R-rated movie. I think this movie is actually, I forget what the rating was on this, but
Right.
I don't know. It's like they're not doing anything explicit, whatever. So it's all code. Like this would be the part in the movie where like he tries to get him like a hooker, but instead it's like he does this goofy dance for 5 seconds and then they move on to the next scene. Oh, and he makes all the Soul Sisters bow Japanese style to him as he leaves.
Hell yeah.
Right. Because you have to have it.
Maybe he doesn't make them, but you know, the movie
They're not
made them do
forced
that.
to, but they wanted it, and you know, a lot of times when she wants it, I mean, that's
My notes are really fucking lazy in a funny way
Good,
here.
good.
I've got a Pat Morita gets down at the club, parentheses, short king energy, bullshit,
Yep.
etc. More shootout /
Your
chasing.
notes are funnier than the movie, by the way.
All right, so here's a great part. And you could go back if we missed anything.
yeah.
Pat Morita, amazing flying jump kick through windshield.
Oh yeah, that's so sick.
Caves in the head of driver
Yep.
like rotten pumpkin.
Absolutely murders.
And
them.
then next note, another car explodes for no reason.
Doesn't make any sense. Absolutely,
I'm
does
sure
not
there
fit.
was a reason, but I could not tell you because, yeah, even after watching it twice. Then we land on the last
Then we're in
scene.
the airport.
So basically, like,
yeah,
we're at the airport, yeah.
this is where they tease that Jay Leno
has
got
crutches. Right. Morita.
This is the part at the end of the movie where Jay Leno says, "I've had sex."
Mavis.
Yeah, the female officer from the beginning of the movie comes back, and she's like she's bringing him like a brown paper bag, and at first I was like, is she just like fetching him food?
It's all condoms
but anyway.
and lube.
But even in that 1 second exchange between the two of them, there's zero chance your mind has been tricked into thinking they could ever fuck
Right.
in the future, past, or present. Pat because it's fucking Jay Leno. He's married to a car. So then it's revealed after like a bunch of like stupid fucking banter, like the worst kind of banter you can imagine, trying to like wind down this movie. Leno's like, hey, actually turns out I've got that prototype for you. He just like ties up the movie with a little bow. It's like, plot completed. here's your object you've been looking for. Yeah. And then 2 seconds after that, Jay Leno tries pathetically to bow. This is like showing that they really are friends now. Mm-hmm. And he's like, am I doing it right? Pat Morita's like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then Pat Morita does the series of fucking chin flicking Italian crotch grabbing things and says, sayonara, my friend. And that's the end of the movie. That's it. Wait, before he says sayonara, my friend, this was something I've never seen in any movie ever. And I've seen like 20,000 movies in my life, probably, right? Right before he delivers the last line, it's just like normal camera work, like one shot, right? Another shot. Right before the last line, they split the screen in half, and so you can see both of them at the screen at the same time. Yeah. It just seems like one of the most sad fucking moves ever for a movie.
Great editing right there.
It's like we gotta see both of their faces when he delivers this stellar line of sayonara, my friend.
Yeah. Two things really quick I wanted to talk about was during the final chase scene where they go through the fucking box truck and they come out the other side of it, and it's a slow-mo shot and whatnot. I just love how often through these chase scenes they ignore physics entirely. Right. So that was great. I love how they stole the car from the old lady. It's just like, my purse, you assholes! And then they pull the purse out. That was great. That was a genuinely funny moment.
Yeah. The old lady with the nitrous tank in her car unknowingly. That was pretty funny.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But that's the movie, huh?
Wow. Yeah, that was Collision Course, aka Kamikaze Detroit.
Oh, love it.
Or Karate Me Here, Karate Me There is my favorite title.
Yeah, I like that one.
I would have appreciated Kamikaze Detroit.
That's true.
That was what they really wanted to call it. And
that's a better title.
They kept it in Spain. Got to give it to the Spanish.
Yeah, thanks, Spain, for me. Cool. Wow. So we did it. Another one in the books.
We did. We made it.
Wacky, wild stuff.
Of course, I should have just assumed that. I mean, I was just thinking, like, in case we don't ramble on forever.
We did that.
So no need to supplement, but I'll just say Pat Morita has, like, a fairly interesting Wikipedia page.
He does.
Give it a look.
He's an interesting man.
I don't know much about him outside of just the Karate Kid movie, so I will have to check that out, actually.
I think what's interesting about him is that he kind of, like a lot, I mean, like, I guess like a lot of, like, Asian American actors at the time, like, in the, 60s, 50s and 60s, he was just like, he, like, did a lot of, like, demeaning, like, caricature type work, which is what's interesting about the most, like, beloved, like, Mr. Miyagi character, where he definitely has those qualities, whatever, I guess. But it's like, people do speak with broken English. Like, that's not the offensive part. That's what so many people don't fucking seem to understand about, like, what's actually racist and what isn't. But, like, no, it's more like him demeaning himself for a movie like Collision Course, racist. like him.
A lot of ethnic actors have to do that at one point in their careers, or several points throughout their, like, who's the guy, the Hispanic actor? I forget his name, but even he said, like, yeah, there's like so many roles where I had to like play gangster, or
like Wazamo?
No, Trejo.
no,
Danny
it was,
Trejo.
Michael Pena.
Oh.
Michael Pena.
Oh, okay.
He's like, yeah. When I was starting out, I would just turn down some of those cholo roles because like fuck that, like, you know, you gotta maintain some of your.
He should have been in previous episode 187.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
That would have been a plus up for that movie.
But that's the way it shakes out for a lot of like ethnic actors. You know, they have to like demean themselves a little bit to get a paycheck. You know.
Yeah.
Like that, but
I mean, I would say it's like probably worse for someone in Morita's time. I mean, you look at some of like the like kind of early roles or whatever, and it's just kind of, you know, nameless, faceless, generally Asian figure, but
yeah.
Anyway, people are better at distinguishing Asians now.
It's true.
So everything's looking good, society wise.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any more thoughts on this movie, at least for today. But if you guys have any final thoughts, I guess now's the time to say them.
I don't. I think I'm glad we got to watch it because I never would have watched this just on my own. Like
me either. I would have shut it off too. I
Yeah.
have to have a reason to stick with these things.
Yeah, so I'm glad we got to watch it because sometimes watching bad movies is a good way to learn, you know, just in general, like, well, what is and what is not a good story, and what works and what doesn't work when it comes to this sort of thing. So
yeah,
I appreciate that we got to experience this and talk about it together. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I should say happy January 6th officially, guys.
Oh yeah.
At least
Oh
over
yeah,
here on the
for those
East
who
Coast.
celebrate.
Yeah.
For those who celebrate, happy holidays, happy Jan 6th. I know I'm not going to get it, but I would really like to get my hands on the True Anon Storm the Capitol board game.
God.
Just putting that out there.
Do you think it's impossible to get? I think you could just order it, right?
I think they're very limited. I haven't checked though, but I think they're extremely limited, and I'm imagining they're like sold out already because those guys have a bit of a following. Also, I don't know. I guess I was thinking more along the lines of, I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, I saw the price of it today, and it's like a boutique board game, so I guess it makes sense.
I assume it's probably like reasonable. It's not on sale yet.
Yeah, I guess
It's $65.
Yeah, 65
That's
For
not
a
bad.
board game?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
I'll gimmick you this.
a board game made by a podcast that
I'll buy
makes
it.
like $95,000 a month on Patreon.
Wow.
They could-
What podcast is that?
True Anon.
Yeah.
True Anon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would order it if I didn't think that they were both pedophiles, even though their whole thing is that they're expressly not pedophiles.
They're
The only podcast.
Their log line,
Yeah.
the only anti-pedophile podcast.
But
I'm on their website. Holy
I
shit, that's
kind
a
of
real
don't
thing.
trust
I
it,
love that.
you know? I mean,
I mean, the other thing is that it would be fun to play it like as an episode, and that would mean we'd all have to buy
no, we'll just have to
versions
get
of it.
together. We can do it. You know, we can get together in the same room. We could make it
What's
happen
the centralized?
someday. Anyways,
Wow.
general recommendations.
Yeah, that was, I guess, my way of leading into general recommendations is because I kind of recommend checking out the True Anon board game, Storm the Capitol. I mean, I totally recommend checking it out. I kind of recommend buying it.
Give her the one silver.
I will recommend another movie, another 80s movie, I believe. No, it's 1990. And it's called Showdown in Little Tokyo. Another buddy cop action film. Another quote unquote bad movie, but it is like, I don't know, let's say 10,000 times.
Dolph Lundgren.
10,000 times more fun than Collision Course.
Looks like Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee.
It is.
Wow.
It's Brandon Lee
and Tia Carrera. Wow.
Yeah, and she disrobes, and she also has the funniest line in the movie, which is like a ridiculous euphemism or whatever. Like after she gets done fucking Dolph Lundgren. Spoiler alert. Something about coming. I forget what exactly. But it's a fun, dumb movie, which basically sort of presupposes that the LAPD has like a Japanese culture subgroup within the department, and Brandon Lee and Dolph Lundgren is supposed to be like half Japanese in this movie as well, which is kind of funny. Just because he looks like the most like purely Aryan man on Earth.
Yeah. Wow.
But his character gets really into being sort of Japanese, and so does Brandon Lee.
Sort of Japanese.
Yeah. And then basically
what are you? I'm sort of Japanese.
They're fighting
I'm
against
vaguely Asian.
various gangs in LA. And it's like it's the more fun version of the movie we just talked about, I would say. Although it's a bad movie, don't get me wrong. And then, like I always say these days, if you are a resident of sunny California, you must vote for Barack Obama Mandela for the Senate seat on March 5th, 2024.
I mean, you stole the words from my mouth. That was going to be my general recommendation. It's for anyone here.
Obama Mandela?
Vote for Barack.
Why don't you explain to Adrian who this is?
Adrian, you have to vote for Barack Obama Mandela. He is the shining light in the future of politics. He's an amazing man. He's truly a god amongst men, and he is very special. Follow him.
Wow.
Yeah. Barack
He's this
Obama
guy
Mandela.
who's like self-published a bunch of weird books.
Mm-hmm.
He fought in the IDF.
That's how you know it's good.
And in the U.S. Marines.
Yep. Wow.
He legally changed his name to Barack Obama Mandela.
Well, I don't mean to take the air out of your sails, but according to Ballotpedia, it says he's not going to appear on the ballot on March 5th.
What?
That's bullshit. Nope.
Ballotpedia.
Nope.
You're breaking my heart.
They're holding him down.
We got to get him back, folks.
Nope.
Even more so reasons to rise up, collectivize around
Barack
B.O. Mandela.
Is his name just a huge coincidence?
Yeah.
No, he was definitely making a statement.
It just happened.
One of his books is called like the audacity of
something. Mandela.
Wow. I love that for him.
He also
it's so great.
I mean, what got our attention about this guy was that he has this book called The Fourth Reich, the Kobe, LeBron, Goebbels,
Mandela
Overthrow of America or something like that. And it's it's like a fascist leader named Kobe LeBron Goebbels takes over the
that's
US.
the name.
Yeah.
That's the name of one guy. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. That's so interesting.
He's our only hope.
He's our only hope. Good shit.
Anybody else
Oh,
recommend?
that was not my main recommendation. My main recommendation, obviously, the most important recommendation, number one before everything, is Barack Obama Mandela. Number two, after that, is Late Stage Live. It's a relatively new late night talk show, which makes sense when we're talking about Jay Leno. A YouTube show that's doing like a late night thing that's similar to The Tonight Show and The Daily Show, with a much funnier host and a much funnier kind of take on things. It's like a modern version of this. Kind of that vibe brought up to date. It's called Late Stage Live. Check it out. It's on YouTube.
With Ella Yerman?
Yeah, with Ella Yerman. It started in November. It's moderately new, and I would definitely recommend that people check this out because it's just getting going, and it is very funny. So far, it's really good. It's been a couple months going.
Being in LA, you met her.
No, I
haven't you?
don't. I don't know these people. I don't know if they're
Oh.
from LA. I don't think it's from here. I like the show. I think it's good. So check it out on YouTube.
Nice. I have it up right now. I have one recommendation for you guys. I know there's a million streaming services out there, and here's another one for your list. It's free if you have a library card. Check out the app Canopy.
I know about Canopy.
Yeah,
that's been around since like pre-internet times. That was a thing, I think.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And they have newish movies. Like I watched The Whale recently. Oh, it's not going to show on here, but The Whale and like Everything Everywhere All at Once is on there now. So all you need is a library card, and as far as I can tell, there's no ads either. So it's a ad-free streaming app. That all you need is a library card.
Yeah.
So
See, I remember when that was a thing, just for like getting like interlibrary like rentals or whatever.
Oh yeah.
For like, I mean, you could still get movies and books, but it wasn't streaming. Is my point. But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
cool. That's
it's
useful.
Supported on some like Amazon Fire Stick. Like you can get the app on there as well. So
I mean, it's useful. It's not as useful as us very usefully telling people to vote for this guy who's not on the ballot. But
Barack Obama Mandela.
I really do want him to. I mean, I don't think he's really going to win, but
not with that.
It would make me so happy if he did.
Good stuff.
All right.
Good stuff.
I think that's it, fellas.
All right.
Right? We've done all the things, right? Adrian, you can plug your stuff, of course. That's what we always do at the very end.
Yeah, you know what? I'll follow Boots Too Big. I'm on all social medias. I'm on every platform, basically. Boots Too Big with 2 zeros. And then I have my own podcast called The Never Seen It Podcast, neverseenitpodcast.com. We do a similar vibe to this. We watch a movie that at least one of us hasn't seen, which is I know is a great gimmick. And then we discuss it. We don't discuss it as deep dive as this, but we get into it. So check that out. And that's pretty much it. So
I'll say that I went through like your list of episodes after last recording, and it was a really good mix of highbrow, lowbrow, good movies, shitty movies. It's a nice mix of both. So it's not,
which is again one of the best reasons to do it is because there's certain movies that we've done on there that I would never watch this on my own. So I'm glad we got to watch it for the show because.
Is there like one person in, because you've got like 5 people on that show?
Yeah.
Is there one person in particular that's never seen any Star Wars movie? Because I noticed you guys were like catching up on a lot of the Star Wars.
Our buddy Arnold has never watched any of the Star Wars movies.
I bet that would be almost kind of fun, like even as a viewer, like just to sort of watch someone react to such a classic movie.
Yeah, and I think we need to catch up. Like I don't think we've done Return of the Jedi yet, but yeah, he hasn't seen any of them. So, and then eventually we'll do the prequels, hopefully. So that'll be fun. Talk about those movies.
I'm not gonna push it. I'll just say if you're looking for a guest when you get to episode 2, I'd love to make fun of that movie on a podcast.
We'd love to have you on. Yeah. We need to have a little meeting at some point about, recording what we want to do next. But yeah, once we get to that, even before that, we'll let you know if there's any other movies that you might be interested in. So
hell yeah.
Open invitation to the both of you. I know Tim's.
I'm always up for movie talk.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep that in mind.
I'll come on
thank you.
Adrian, if you want to do an episode of the Never Seen It about Back to the Future. I think that would be the perfect Never Seen It for me. Like, if you guys want to if you guys want to do Back to the Future with me, I will do the first Back to the Future movie. I think that's the one.
3 of them.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of them. I will do the first one.
I love that idea.
You have,
it's a great idea.
I mean, once you see the first one, you're gonna want to see that second one.
Sure, and then after that, maybe the third. But yeah, it would be good.
The second one is almost equally as good as the first one, I would say.
Sure,
but
I love all 3 of those movies. I don't care how cheesy they get. Yeah, they're great.
But I would.
No, that's a great idea, Tim.
And it feels like a movie that I should watch. Yeah.
I'm disgusted by the fact that you've never seen.
Brother, your eyes would curdle if you knew all the movies I've never seen.
You've seen Lord of the Rings?
Nope.
Tim?
Nope.
Right.
No.
Wow.
Of course not.
Okay. Oh my gosh, those movies
I don't
are
watch
good.
movies, man.
That's true. You like the more underground.
I like
shit,
movies
like
and stuff,
David
but I
Lynch.
don't watch movies. I like movies. I don't watch them.
Yeah.
So you just need a pair of annoying scolds to force you into movie watching.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done?
All right.
I think we're done. Unless you wanna plug your stuff as well.
Listen to the other show. We Don't Know Wrestling. It's moving soon to Violent People. Follow me on Twitter at ROHDutch. That's where you'll get the stuff.
Yes, and we, of course, have a website, heatdeathpod.com, which basically just has episodes. Please check the show notes. Please join our Discord. Please say things on the Discord. And as Pat Morita always says, if at first your storming of the Capitol does not succeed, at least take a righteous shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Miyagi out.
Well, you're a wild horse on a collision course with the sun. Well, you're a wild horse on a collision course with the sun. And I wanted to ride that wild horse into the sun. I wanted to ride that wild horse into the sun. But I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. Oh no, I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Well, maybe it's best for you to ride right into the sun. Maybe it's best for you to ride right into the sun. Because I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. Oh no, I no longer think that I'll ever find a chosen one. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?